Vibe Show 97.9. What's going on? What's up with everybody? Y'all already know what time it is. We are getting ready to launch yet another major exclusive. Y'all know how we do it on the Vibe Show. We bring y'all nothing but exclusive. And what better guest to have on getting ready to go into the new year's. Wow. I am so excited, and I know that everybody else is definitely excited for this queen right here. This diva is what she is. I'm talking about singer, songwriter, model, actress, one a member of the best-selling female groups of all time. Y'all all know it. Y'all know the songs. Y'all know what time it is. I'm talking about the very, very beautiful, very lovely, very talented, the one, the only, Dawn Robinson.
Thank you so much, Kato. Wow, what an intro. That was a nice introduction. Thank you so much.
It's only right. Wow. Y'all, we have Dawn on here. Can y'all believe this? This is amazing. She's looking amazing, glowing. Shout out to everybody on the early checking in for this major exclusive right here. How are you feeling, first of all?
I'm feeling amazing. I'm so amazing. I really am. I know COVID was crazy. I understand that. We complained enough about it to each other and around each other, and everybody talking COVID all the time. That it was just something new for the planet. It was something different for the planet. It was global, which is usually not the case. You know, something happens. Bubonic plague, I think, happened in the early 1700s or something crazy. And that was just in London. It was an isolated situation. 9/11 happened in New York City, but it affected the globe. But it's like, this is something so different. And I had to look at it from a different perspective. I hear people talking about it. And the one perspective that I gravitated towards the most was the positive one, because that's who I am. So when I started hearing certain people talk about the fact that it was an opportunity to slow down, for the planet to heal, because we weren't driving everywhere and over consuming and over polluting the air with our cars and means of getting around and buying stuff we don't need. I was like, you know what? Because the oceans were healing. You know, the animals in the ocean were coming closer to land. Supposedly there was a lot of deer coming into the cities because there weren't a bunch of cars on the road.
Wow.
The sky in Los Angeles is usually brown. Like literally when you drive into town or you're flying into Los Angeles, you could see on the skyline, you could see how brown you could like literally cut it with a knife or scissors.
Really?
Yeah, it's so nasty that the pollution is really bad. And they had shown 3 photos, one before COVID and everybody was shut down and at home when it first happened, and how clear it was, how dirty it was prior, and then how clear it was during.
And
that never happens in Los Angeles, ever happens, never. So yeah, man, I was like, you know what, this is a good time to slow down. It's a good time for people to communicate with each other differently. Kids and their parents having to stay home with each other and homeschool. That was a blessing because they got to know their kids and their work that they're doing at school. And well, wow, this is the kind of math you're doing. This is the kind of history you're taking.
You actually had a chance to tap in and actually see what's going on. So yeah, I definitely get you. I definitely get you on that. I think that
I was worn out though, and I know everybody else is too. Tired of hearing these, because I can't look at something that is just like, they'll call me a conspiracy theorist, and I don't care about that because I have been awake for a while. There's just certain things that just don't make sense. Like you have to wear a mask when you go into a restaurant, but as soon as your food comes, you can take it off to eat.
I mean, exactly.
Kano, like seriously, like really, that makes no sense to me. Where's the somebody else said, where does flu season go when there's no flu? Where does the flu go when there's no flu season? I'm sorry.
Oh, Don, you going there now?
I'm like, come on, yo. Yeah, they're thinking because this is Instagram. People, I see different audiences on different platforms. Facebook hardly responds at all. They don't get very involved, and I love them, but they're kind of slow to respond. Instagram is like, everybody is like, revolutionary. Everybody wants to stand up and speak and say things that are like, just think about it. common sense stuff. I'm like, oh my God, wide awake. You're talking about woke.
Right.
Yeah. And
Right.
so that's where I get all this from. It's not just me, but thank you.
I think it's great. Now I want to start with 30 years, and forgive me for being starstruck now. I mean, I'm definitely
Oh, Kato.
starstruck. Like, you're my favorite diva now.
Thank you so much. No, I
Now,
appreciate that. It's all love. It really is. It
30
really is.
plus
30
years in the
freaking
game.
years.
Like, I gotta ask you, because like mentally, being in the industry for that long of a period, does that affect you or an artist in a good or a bad way?
It's a very good way. It affects me. It's like I look at it like, okay, where did all the years go?
Hmm.
But when I look back and I really, really dig into what I was doing after I left the group, it's like life. I want to do a show called Life After Group,
Mm,
because Maxine put it to me earlier this year when we were doing a project together. It fell through. It didn't happen. But she was saying to me, she said, it was weird because we were in a bubble. We were in the
right,
En Vogue bubble.
right.
And it's almost like we were isolated and protected from everything on the outside. And this fear of leaving the group or thinking for yourself, you become compliant with a group situation. Anytime you're involved in any kind of you have to comply. I don't know what it's called, but there's a word when the masses come together and everybody kind of like sheep. They think
Mm,
like each other. So you think like the masses think. You
right.
act as everybody else acts. And I was like, wow, you're absolutely right about that. It was scary to be on your own. I was the first one to be pushed out because I didn't leave on my own recognizance, but pushed out of the group, and I had to figure out things for myself.
Wow.
Thank God Lucy Pearl came along, but still, Maxine was right. It's like you think as the group thinks. And I was always one to stand up for myself, but reluctantly. At first, when I was like, because my best friend put it a couple of years ago, she's like, Dawn, you were feistier when we were in high school. At 17 and 16 years old, you were much more feisty than you are now. You got into the group and you had to comply with the group. And so you became a group thinker.
Right.
You know what I mean? And so I kind of lost sense of who I was, and I complied with the group. Now
Mm,
I'm getting back to who I am. And over the years, actually before this year, I've been slowly getting back to myself, and
right.
probably the last 5 years, I just put it like that. Standing up, speaking for myself has always been a thing that I do, but I was a little bit reluctant because you don't want to be outside the group mentality.
Mm,
What do they call it when it's like a mob mentality. When
right.
you start thinking for yourself, everybody looks at you like, excuse me. So that's why when I say what I'm about to say, people are like, oh, I don't know about that. But to me, this was really a pandemic. This was
Hmm.
really that. It was
I believe
because,
that.
yeah, you do? Really,
I,
Kato?
I I really honestly do. But I'm one of those conspiracy theorists. I just feel like everybody's not lying. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? Like,
Exactly.
I think that it's strategically planned that way to think that, because like if you really think about it, okay, when you were younger, we all were raised a certain type of way in a certain
Right.
type of religion to believe a certain type of thing as a child. We didn't really have a choice. So then when you
Exactly.
get older, you start to, we start to ask questions and stuff like that. And then they
Mhm.
always deemed it as, oh, you're demonic asking questions like that or whatever. But why
Exactly.
can't you ask questions like that? And I think that it's
Exactly.
strategically planned that way for, to make it seem like people are crazy because they're speaking on certain things that they really don't want you to know. It's
Exactly.
how I view it.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, so the whole pandemic to me, somebody else says scamdemic. I was like, you guys are really, again,
Mhm.
that's Instagram. They're
Right.
wide awake and they don't just take it sitting down. They're like questioning stuff that's going. There's a lot of people that just follow
Mhm.
because they're afraid. You're scared to go outside the norm. You're
Right.
scared to go outside
Right.
what the government is telling you to do this stuff. And
Mhm.
they're so pushing this vaccine and pushing this freaking mask. And there was a pastor who actually had a video on his page. I begged him because he had music playing in the background, but he did a demonstration of what it means to wear a mask. He said,
Right.
first of all, when we communicate as human beings, we look at each other's mouths when we're talking. We don't look at each other's
Mhm.
eyes. We actually look at the
Right.
mouth.
Right.
So when you cut that off, you can't tell what people are saying, and you got to figure out their eye movement. You know what I
Mm,
mean? And
that's interesting.
sometimes you can't see a smile, so we're cutting off that communication, human to human. That's how we interact. Animals
Right.
interact with each other too in a certain way. There's a certain, I don't know, whatever animals have. That's how they communicate. With us, it's
Hmm.
looking at our faces. The eyebrows give away a lot too.
Right.
Um, you can be angry, you can be upset, you can be
Right.
confused,
Right. Right.
you
Right.
can be afraid. You
Right.
know what I mean? So, but with just seeing the eyes, you lose that sense of communication, and then you're breathing your own immune. What do you call it? Your own carbon monoxide
Hmm.
by putting on a mask and leaving it on all day. So people that have to work at grocery stores or have to, dentists have to have
Yeah.
a mask on all day long. They're literally breathing their own waste. And
Right.
some of the fans were telling me when it first started, they were like, yeah, I'm starting to get headaches and get stomach aches. And I was like, you guys, you have to take a deep breath. You got to go outside and get fresh air. Yeah,
Hmm.
at every hour, if you can do that, go outside and literally breathe the air.
Right. Right.
Because,
I feel that. I
yeah,
definitely feel that. I think that it started a while ago as well, like with social media, because like, I'm old school, and I like to actually talk to people. You know what I'm
yeah,
saying? And I think
yes,
that as the years went on, it caused this division, and it caused social media, when dating sites and all of these different things came out or
yeah,
whatever.
yeah,
it
you're right.
created it created a situation to where people wasn't really physically interacting anymore, and the
Mm,
people who didn't really have who was afraid to conversate with people, it made it easier for them to practically be anybody that you want to be. You can
exactly.
conversate with anybody that you want to conversate with. But for
Yeah.
the children is the part that really bothered me, because I felt like kids were losing their sense of communication skills, because everybody likes to text you now, everybody
Hmm.
likes to email you, nobody likes to pick up the phone and talk. I'm like, hey, listen,
That's
I'm
right.
not gonna text you a biography when we could just talk on the phone. Like, why can't we just talk on the
Exactly. Why
phone?
can't we
Nobody
just
wants to
talk?
talk. Exactly.
Exactly. Yes, yes, you're right. Not only that, my parents and I were talking the other day that they're literally trying to take cursive out of the schools because
Really.
kids don't use cursive anymore. Nobody's teaching that. Teachers aren't teaching that. Texting is the new. And I'm just like, why are you taking those skills away? But things progress. I mean, my mom was reminding me that when they were kids, rock and roll, they couldn't show Elvis Presley from the waist down
Right.
on TV because it was risque. And now it's
Mhm.
like too much has gone by, and now
Yeah.
they allow anything. So it's like we can talk about WAP.
Right. Right.
And it's like, come on, y'all. We can't let our morals go just because, it's like we got to hang on to something.
Right.
Um,
Right.
and I think that also starts in the home. So I've been praying about a lot of stuff and just putting it in God's hands, because no human being can control another, which is good. It
Right.
shouldn't be that way. We all have decisions to make for ourselves, and we all have, even God gives us free will to
Hmm.
decide what we need and what we want for ourselves and make decisions on our own,
Right.
and have choices.
Right.
Uh, but I am praying that the ways of our grandparents to a certain point comes back into play, that the respect as human beings comes back into play. Now I
Mhm.
think that white people, just because we had people are going to think again that I'm crazy, but I
Say
don't
it,
think that
Don. This is the vibe show. We having real look. We brother and sister. We having real talk on here now, for
that's
real,
real. That's real.
straight
Thank you for
up.
that. But I don't think Trump. I'm trying to adjust my camera. Sorry. I don't think that Trump is as crazy as what they say. I think he's having a hard time getting out what he has to say because they control the
Hmm.
media, and
Hmm.
they don't want him to get out and tell the truth. I've been seeing people sending me stuff from private not private sectors, what do you call them? Private pages from people saying this is what Trump has done, but they don't put it on the news to show it
Hmm.
because
Hmm.
they don't want somebody like he said when he first ran for office. He said, I am not political. I am not going to start. I am not presidential.
Hmm.
I'm not about to start talking like a president because I don't like that shit. They lie to you. They say the same thing and they put their hand like this when they're running for I will lower taxes, higher wages.
Hmm. Hmm.
and then they get into office and we keep them there for 4 years while they lie to us about why they can't give us anything that we asked, that they promised us.
Right, right. You know, another thing that I think is the problem too, I think that as the world is changing and progressing and we're moving in, you know, towards the future, I think
Yes.
that, you know, how can we honestly as a nation move into the future when you got people that's still sitting in seats that's been there, they're 80, 90 years old, like
That's real.
their
That's right,
mentality
Kano.
is still of old. They were in sitting in seats in slavery times, and
Exactly.
that's what they know. They're hiding
No,
it
you're
well,
absolutely right.
but
You're
they're not
right.
going to be able to adjust to the new things or whatever. That's why they don't want to change anything. They don't want to
Exactly.
reform anything or change anything. We need new energy, period.
Yeah, they like it the way that it was. They like the old school. They like it exactly how it was.
Hmm.
I'm not saying that Trump is a good person. I am saying, because he's far from it. He's rude, but he was rude before he got in, and we knew that.
Absolutely,
You know what I mean?
absolutely.
A lot of people didn't.
When he was partying with everybody, we knew
Thank
that.
you. Exactly. He was rude back then, but also, he's doing stuff behind the scenes that I think people need to see. It's just that he can't get out and talk about that because they stop him at every pass.
Because they control
They don't
all of the
want.
media outlets.
Thank you. Exactly. So, my thing is though, if you have all that, fool, you better get out here and start something of your own. If
Hmm.
you are fucking Donald Trump, excuse me, start your own political platform. Get out there and talk to the people on your own.
Right,
Now, again, they control the networks, so he can't get on CNN. He can't get, you know what I mean? But it's like you can do a PBS channel,
right,
something
right.
that's free enterprise where you can do it across the nation and talk to the people on your own. So if he really was a good person, it's like somebody else said the other day that Blinden, I call him Blinden,
Hmm.
not Biden, but Blinden, and
Right.
Trump and Blinden are actually friends. That they make it seem like they're enemies with each other, but they're really not. They're two of the same freaking coin.
Hmm.
Two, you know what I mean? So it's two sides of the coin, same coin, and it's really hard to believe. So again, that's when I put everything into God's hands, because I'm like, anything that's bigger than human beings,
Hmm.
anything that's out of our control as human beings, I put in God's hands. And I'm
Right,
not highly religious at all, but I know that there's a God. I know this
right.
is something bigger than us, and I'm like, okay, Father, if this is it, let us know what's up, because something is definitely up. I can't act like I don't feel what's happening. I can't act like I can't see.
I think it's the new world order. I think that we're going into the new world,
But
and
in a
they,
good
they
way,
can't.
because
Yeah,
they made
in
it
a good
seem
way.
like, exactly,
Right.
they made it seem like New World Order was a scary,
Hmm. Hmm.
luminous, frightening. Oh my God, what's going to happen? And the three sixes on your forehead if you don't have the mark of the beast type of mentality. And I think that actually someone the other day too, I watch a lot of videos on YouTube, and someone made mention of the New World Order actually happened when Columbus stepped onto Plymouth Rock. He said, "This is a new world."
Mm.
He discovered the new world.
Mm.
So I was like, you know what? That kind of makes sense that it started back then, and now we're in the age of Aquarius. I'm not into astrology and all that stuff, but I'm like, okay, it just makes sense that supposedly we're out of the Piscean age and now we're into the age of Aquarius, just like the Fifth Dimension talked about in the
Right.
60s, that
Right.
song. We were going into the age of Aquarius, even though that was 40 years ago or so. Now we're finally here. So what Aquarius means, water. It's a water sign,
I'm
and
an
it's like a
Aquarius.
mirror. Are you?
Yes.
Okay, all right.
I'm
See,
super excited about the space that we're heading into. Like
exactly.
I am.
Good, Kano. Exact. So they said that this is like a mirror. And that is why Hollywood is being woken up. All the pedophilia that has been going on in Hollywood and politics,
Hmm.
it's all being revealed now. These people are being called out. All the evils and the negative of the world are being called out. And I'm just like, Father, if this is your will, thy be done. Thy will be done. Thank you so much. You know what I mean?
Amen.
That these changes are taking place. And people keep telling me too, I've had a couple of private messages saying, Dawn, be careful. You have a platform, and be careful how you use your platform. And I'm like, wait a minute. So basically, you're saying be scared and keep
Exactly.
your mouth shut
And
and
keep
act
your
like a
mouth
good
closed.
girl.
Right.
Yeah, and just obey. There's these.
Hmm.
I don't obey. I am such a rebel when it comes to that, and it's not just to be. Excuse me. It's not
Be to
just to
be
be
vindictive.
rebellious just
Right.
because I want to be rebellious. It's no common sense. I'm not going to sit here and just. I have a responsibility as a human being first,
Hmm.
as a woman, as a Black woman, and as a celebrity to speak my mind, to speak my piece.
Right.
So, and to help people Even if they may not agree with me, and that's okay. You don't have to agree with everything that I say. That's what makes the world what it is. It's
Right.
also what makes people hate each other and fight each other. Palestinians have been fighting the Israelites since the Bible days because
Mm-hmm.
you don't believe in my religion and I don't believe in yours. So I'm going to kill you because you don't believe in my God. Are you kidding me?
Right.
So I don't care when people disagree with me. I'd rather them disagree and we talk about it.
Right.
And if we can't agree at the end of it, then hey, that's your opinion and you're good and I love you still.
Right.
And my opinion is my opinion, and hopefully you love me the same.
Absolutely.
Yeah, but we sometimes get so hung up on you have to think the way that I think in order for me to like you.
Right.
The
Right.
hell is that? That's so like crazy. I can't. I've always been a rebel. I've just been
I
this,
love
so
it.
I fight against that.
I love it. I love it, Don. I really,
Good,
really
good,
do.
good.
Let me ask you this.
Yeah.
When it comes to groups, and especially a super group, being,
Right.
coming from a super group, was it difficult for you guys to keep it all together, with being ladies? I mean, we know that, and
Yes.
a bunch of ladies together, and being so talented,
Mhm.
was it difficult?
Of course, it was difficult. But when I did Lucy Pearl, the guys told me the same thing happened in their groups.
Mm,
Men always tend to, and I'm not saying you're doing this, Kano. I'm just saying men tend to say that women are difficult and catty and fight with each other, but guys do the same exact thing.
absolutely, I totally agree with you.
Exactly.
Just in a
So
different way. We do it in a different way, but it's the same.
sometimes,
It's the same thing to me. You know what I'm
sometimes for
saying?
Raphael, and I love Raphael Sadiq. He's one of the best artists that I've ever worked with. He's my brother. We've known each other since we were 16.
Ralph
But he
was
was a little
tripping though,
bitch.
man. Ralph was tripping though.
But
Like
he was a
Ralph,
little bitch when it came to stuff, and I really
right,
saw that. And I'm like, so that cattiness was there. It
right.
was there. It was no different than being in a girl group. It really wasn't. And I resent him for that because we had such an amazing group.
Magical,
Oh my God.
magical. And
Yeah.
at that time, Don, I was so excited about it because I felt like at that time we needed that music because of the group that was together. Like each individual person, you guys had a uniqueness about you, and that's
Hmm.
what I was excited about. I was like, "Yo, this is gonna be super dope." I'm telling you, now, Don, like, oh my God, come on, you can't beat that.
Exactly.
Come
It was
on,
amazing. It was an amazing project. And thank you for that. But yeah, he was the jealousy got to him. You can't be jealous of a girl. First of all, again, stop being a little bitch about this. Let's work together so we can make this paper. We are doing something unprecedented.
right?
We're doing something so new than
It was new,
it was newer than Tony and Tribe
Mhm.
Called Quest and En Vogue all put together.
Right?
We had something so genius, and it was magical, man. It was really magical. And then we also had two guys that I was working with prior to Lucy Pearl. Once Raphael heard their music and the stuff that we were working on, Jake and the Fat Man, their name is, he was like, well, why don't you bring them in on the project? I was like,
Mm,
cool, yeah, because they're
right,
dope as hell. A
right.
white guy and a black and a Mexican kid. So they made the sound of Lucy Pearl what it was, and it was just incredible.
Wow.
You cannot destroy this. Please see what this is and let's cultivate it. Pour into it in a positive way and lift it up, and let's keep this because I felt like this can be the go-to for each of us. Raphael and I get tired of each other. Ali gets sick of Raphael, or we get sick
Hmm.
of each other, and we go out and do other projects and come back to Lucy Pearl. That's what it was supposed to be from the beginning.
Right.
And it was always supposed to be a one-off, but if we like what we're doing and we can come back and do another, you
Why
know
not? You know what I mean?
exactly,
Like,
that's what we agreed on. But yeah, the jealousy got the better of him, and it just fell apart. It fell apart.
let me ask you this: when do you think when groups break up, and they go their own way for personal or for business reasons,
Yeah.
or whatever, does it make it difficult, to come back together, um, to work on projects, or do you think that it's just pure selfishness? Because um, I think that like it's a certain responsibility, and each individual person, we all blessed with certain powers or whatever.
Mhm.
But I do think that at times those powers get abused, especially when you have something, like you guys, a legacy, um
Right.
and issues. Certain little things could really rob the culture and really rob the world of
Yeah.
ongoing projects, and just delivering such beautiful music. Do you think that it's somewhat selfish in ways when issues and different things happen and they just get so far out of control that they can't be resolved?
Well, I mean, you got to think about the average 9 to 5 person. You work with other people in cubicles most time, or sitting next to you at work somehow. You
Mhm.
don't always get along, and if you can't get along enough, you're going to get up and move from that job. You're going to leave. You're going to either ask to be placed someplace else, or
Right.
you're going to quit altogether and just say, to hell with this. I can't deal with that, or I can't deal
Mhm.
with my boss who's overbearing or controlling or abusive verbally. So in any family situation, you're going to not get along sometimes. It's just the way it is. It's just life. People are human beings, and you don't always, your personalities may clash.
Right.
And you could call it selfish, but you could also say that we were only supposed to do a one-off for Lucy Pearl anyway. It was only supposed to be a one album deal. So we weren't supposed to stay together longer than a year. Like I said, if we wanted to come back and do another one, we could have. But we
Mhm.
decided that this was it. Things aren't working out for us, so we're going to go on and do something else. I would have loved for Raphael to just come to me and say, look, we got to keep this going. He came to my room in Amsterdam when we were overseas, and he came to my room and said, Don, because he calls me Don. I'm trying to make this work and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, Raphael, I am here with you. I am overseas. I am proving who the fuck I am to this group.
Right.
I lost my house in the process because we were supposed to put our album out in June.
Are you serious?
Here we are in November. I don't have a way of paying my mortgage, and he told me before I signed with him, I don't have a lot of money to give you up front, but whatever you need, if you ever need it, I got your back. I can figure it out. I came to him and I said, look, the album's not out. Here's July. I need help. And he's like, well, I don't know what to tell you. Every man for himself.
Are
Like,
you
he
serious?
completely flipped the whole thing. And I went into panic mode. And I called my bank and I call it. And he's like, well, we were supposed to do the soundtrack for Love and Basketball. And he's like, call Overbrook and let PLR know that you're going to do it by yourself. You do the soundtrack by yourself. I said, Raphael, first of all, that's bad business.
Right.
That is bad. So she's going to panic. When I call her, she's going to be like, what the hell? Wait a minute. So where's Raphael? What's going on with Lucy Pearl?
Right.
And she did, because I called her. And she was like, I'm confused. And I said, well, don't worry about it. Just don't even worry about it. We'll be back.
Right.
We'll be here. We're going to do this Lucy Pearl project with you, and we're going to do the soundtrack. So just don't mind me, and I had to suck it up and figure out what to do. I called the bank and they were like, we have been on you for a while. You know what I mean? And we can't hold off any longer. So 3 months after that, they were like, you're done. So I went on the road. I went overseas, packing my bags. In the process to go overseas with Lucy Pearl, I was also packing up my house to move out. I lost it. And yeah, Raphael was very cold about it, and dismissive, as if he didn't give me his word in the beginning, as if he forgot everything that he promised me, and I had a couple of deals on the table as a solo artist that I could have taken, and I turned them down. RCA had a deal. Bob Jameson at RCA in New York flew me out and, talked to me about a solo deal. And we were in the process of actually signing and drawing something up contract-wise.
Right.
And Raphael hit me up and said, hey, I got a project. He actually contacted my manager, and she didn't tell me that the project was there and the opportunity was there. And then when I found out, there were too many things that led up to me firing her, but that was the crux of it right there.
Right. Because I mean, she don't have that much power to just make a decision like that without talking to you about it.
No, but she knew that she was working on stuff for me, and I understood what she meant by that.
Mm-hmm.
However, let me know what these opportunities are. Don't just make that decision for me. That's not your place.
Right.
We make that decision together. You don't make that for me. We are a team.
Right.
Team is two.
Right.
TWO
Right.
team. So yeah, she made that decision without conferring with me. And I was like, okay, there's too many things, like I said, that led up to me letting her go. And I was like, done. So I turned down RCA for you, Raphael, and you're gonna turn your back on me like this? Like, I still can't wrap my mind around you talking about my credit is still affected to this day because of
Are
that
you
house.
serious?
Oh yeah, yeah. That doesn't go off your credit. That's
Oh,
not a 7-year thing. That's not a what is it? By default, what is it? Statute of limitations.
mm,
Yeah. So no, it still affects me, and it affects me because my heart was involved. I bought my house. Like I put a down payment on this house, and
yeah,
I was making payments on it. You know what I mean? And it's like you said that you would help me out, and plus the album is not out yet.
right.
You know that we're struggling right now because financially, I can only come to you. You are my record label. I signed to Raphael's label through to I think it was Left Bank Entertainment to through Raphael Sadiq. So
Mm,
Pookie Records is Raphael's label. So
right.
I'm your artist, and I'm coming to you saying that I need help. This whole thing was supposed to be out a long time ago, and here we are, November, July, July, August, September, and October. No, come on, this is like a long time ago. We should have had this album out so we can be on the road, so we can make money, so I can pay my own bills.
You know that's really hurtful. I'm not
And
gonna lie.
again,
That's really
he's a
hurtful to
guy.
hear.
He's a guy too, Kano. So you just talked about girl groups, but see what I mean? He's a guy,
Yeah,
and he treated me like that.
yeah.
So guy groups do the same thing. Guys and groups, people. It's just humans. You know what I mean? Women can be catty in a different way, like you said. But men, he was a bitch. He was being catty.
Right.
So yeah, it's like
But that's just it's so hurtful to hear though, because
thank you.
at that point in time that you were trying to do, and we're doing the Lucy Pearl thing or whatever,
Right.
a lot of work had got put in. Like you had been
Ooh, yes.
in for a
Mhm.
while, so it's very, very hurtful to hear this from you. Yeah, we read the
Right.
tabloids, we read the stories and stuff, but
Exactly.
it's the difference hearing it from you. And I'm so appreciative and thankful for you actually doing these interviews with some of the biggest platforms down to the smallest platforms. I
Right.
really, really appreciate and love you for that, because I
Oh
think
wow.
that
Thank you.
this was so necessary, because people need to hear your side, because for
They
years
do.
you have been painted as a villain. You broke the
Yes.
group up. You
Yep.
just hard to deal with.
Yep.
We've heard it all, but
Yeah.
for you to do this right now is so necessary. So I want to speak for all of the other platforms too. Thank you so much for doing
Oh my
this.
gosh. And thank you so much, Kano. Seriously. I have been thanking each of the platforms that I've done these interviews with. I try to remember to thank each of you guys because your platform may be a little bit bigger than some of them that I've done, but like you said, down to the smallest platform. I did Tarlok. His name is Tarlok, and he lives in London.
Right.
And I did his very first podcast. And this is just what, two
Wow.
months ago? Not even 2 months ago. I've done so many interviews that I can't remember, but what I love about what I'm going through right now in this whole process of doing all these interviews is someone said the other day, a fan, she said, and I had to screenshot it because it was this beautiful. And I showed my mom. I was like, she said, not only are you telling your truth, but you're also giving, you're paying attention to small platforms that people may not normally notice.
Right.
People that are not Oprah Winfrey or Ellen or,
Right.
you know what I mean? Or Jimmy Farrell. Or Ti, like Ti has his own platform.
Right.
I think Jill Scott just started. So those are names. Those are people that are going to get an automatic following.
Automatically.
Exactly. So she said, no, you're shedding light on people that we normally wouldn't hear from.
Right.
And we're finding their podcasts. And once we find them, we're watching their other interviews as well. So I was like, oh my gosh, like that is huge to me. And thank you for even speaking on that. Like, thank you so much, you guys, that you want to talk to me, first of all. And that's not a given, because I mean, I've had many doors closed in my face. Just because I'm from En Vogue or Dawn formerly of En Vogue and Lucy Pearl doesn't mean anything.
Right.
I've gone to record companies or tried to reach out to people for management, and they're like, well, right now we're not signing any new artists. I've had lots of people say no to me. But you guys are saying yes and allowing me to speak. And someone else, while I'm on the subject, someone else said to me the other day, I just want to know why you continue to talk about the negative and why you continue to talk about Sylvia Rohn or what happened with Terry dating Denny. And I'm like, wait a minute. First of all, you sound like you're on the inside. You're taking it personal. But this was my truth. And this is our 30th anniversary. And I'm talking about things that people are asking me about.
Right.
And along with that comes a lot of the stuff that we went through. Otherwise, I would not be telling my truth.
Right.
I'd be telling someone else's truth. So if you don't like it, don't listen to my and I told them this. I said, it's funny that you know that I've said this in every single interview, because that's how they said it. You've said this in every single interview. And I said, I haven't said it in every interview, but it's funny that you're watching.
Not. Exactly.
You're watching every single one of my interviews because obviously you're interested. You're intrigued by what I have to say. And you must not want me to get the truth out there. So somehow I think you're on the inside. I think you might even be Terry or Cindy or someone on the inside that doesn't want the truth coming out. But I will always speak my side of things. And that's what the world is.
I appreciate that from you, though. You know, and that's the thing that I've always connected with you. Like I said, in the group, you've always been my favorite diva, you know, out of all the divas. But it was something different about you. You know, you always was humble. You always had a humble spirit, you know,
thank you
because
so
I
much,
watched
Kato.
all of you guys' interviews. I'm talking about like when you guys were at the height of everything, like you always was different. You know, you always was protective of the group. You know, you always was the guarded one. You know, you just always had that humble spirit about you. So, like, you know,
thank you so
seeing
much.
you doing all of this stuff is no shock to me, because eventually I knew that as things progressed and transgressed over into the space that we are in right now, which is the cyberspace type stuff or whatever, that God was going to allow you to speak your truth to that cloud that's been hanging over, because people just don't know. All we know is the things that they're telling us. And like the ones that's not woke, they're going to believe it, like you said.
Exactly. Yeah, it's hard to, I think we're all guilty of when someone tells us something about someone. You get a new job and you're the new person on your job, and people start talking to you about, well, you know, well, you don't know, but you're new here. And I'm just going to let you know that that person right there is really shitty. He's an asshole, or he's not nice, or she's not nice, because they had a bad experience with that person.
But that don't mean it's your experience.
Right, exactly. But we tend to believe it.
We do.
Unfortunately, and we don't find out for ourselves. I'm someone who tries my best to find out for myself. Is this person really all that bad, or just that person just had a bad experience with that person?
Right. I'm like that too.
It's really hard to do that. And because there was no platform for me to really talk on, unless I wanted to hire a publicist and get out there and talk and do interviews and all that stuff to tell my truth, I really didn't have a project out. So it wasn't like I needed to. Usually when you can tell when an artist or a celebrity or athlete gets on a show, a talk show, it's because they're promoting something.
Exactly.
And I was like, I can't just get out here and start talking about why I left En Vogue. I mean, at the time I didn't have the money to do it either, but to get out there, just talk about why I left the group, because it's like, that felt to me like it was being not catty at all. I was complaining. It was like I was complaining about why I left, and they weren't all talking about it, so why should I get out and talk about it?
Exactly.
You know what I mean? So I kind of kept it to myself. I did talk about it in a couple of interviews, and people have been sending me those old interviews. So I do have proof that I've been saying what I've been saying. Even when I was still in Vogue, there's a couple of clips that people keep sending me about. We were on the red carpet, and somebody said, would you date a broke guy? Would one of you date a broke guy or something like that? And I said, why not? We're broke ourselves or something. And I mean, you're talking about 1992.
And they looking like really?
Exactly.
Did you really just say that? Like everybody, it's like, you know the thing that I don't like about the era that we're in right now, everything is so fake. You know what I'm saying? It's like,
fake, yeah.
Why? It's like everything is a reality type situation, or it's like they've pushed
That's
that
true.
type of TV, and everybody, it's like with social media, it's like a gift and a curse. It's like everybody's a celebrity now. Everybody's
Right.
trying to be this and be that, and it's cool. Everybody can create opportunities. A lot of people have created brands, and I
Yeah,
get it. But I'm just saying, like, everything just seems so in a fake space right now.
I
Everybody
get you.
gotta be beefing with each other. It's gotta be
Right.
this. No, it's no. Where's the love at?
It's so crazy because I tried to tell my family that reality shows were fake even before I got on one.
Man,
And then once I got on one, I was like, okay, so basically, we had filmed about maybe I think it was 36 hours of footage, and TV One came to us and said that they weren't happy with what they were seeing.
mm,
And I said, so basically, I'm going to be the elephant in the room and just say what's what. I'm sorry, but you guys basically are saying that you don't like what you're seeing because we, as the cast, are not talking to each other crazy. We're
right.
not bitch this
Breaking
and fuck you
glasses
that.
and yeah.
Exactly. And taking each other's men and calling each other names and out of each other's names and disrespecting each other. And I said, am I right? And he said, you're absolutely right. He
Wow.
admitted it. Like, come on. He admitted
Wow.
it. He said, yes. And you have to figure. I said, but I told you guys I didn't want to be a part of that mess.
Mm-hmm.
I don't come from that.
Mm-hmm.
And it's unfortunate because we have 6 beautiful women here who have had careers at multi levels. I probably was the one. I am the one who crossed over, and I've had a pop crossover, not just R&B, but I'm the one who's done that with En Vogue.
Right.
But yet I'm still here, and I'm here willing to tell my story, and everything that I've told so far has been true.
Right.
And he said, well, you guys can have like a disagreement on camera, and then you guys can go and have a drink later and laugh about it. I said, but I told you guys day one, I am not here to fight with any one of these women. I'm not here to fist fight or argue with any of these women. If we have a disagreement, why can't we resolve that on camera?
Right.
You said something to me that offended me, and I don't know what you meant by that, but I want to resolve this. And oh, I'm so sorry. I didn't mean it like that. I had a rough day, and I came in and I said that to you, and I remember exactly what I said, and I apologize. Why can't we do that? He said, well, that doesn't make for ratings. I said, but my life is not a rating.
Right. Right.
My life is real. And everything that I've done since I've been on this show, talking about infidelity with my ex-husband, talking about him being abusive, talking about him having 3 children with other women while we were married.
Are you serious?
That was painful. The fact that I even told the fans that I was married, because a lot of fans didn't even know I was married at one point. So all of that I went through, that shit, when I got on camera and I cried about that, I meant it. And he said, oh no, I don't mean you, Dawn, because you've been telling your truth. He said, when you did there was a scene that we did in Vegas, here where I live now. I wasn't living here at the time. But they flew us to Vegas, and Shantae Moore had a great book and a great idea to do. Her book was called Will I Marry Me? A lot of times women especially have a long list of things that we want our man to have.
Right.
All these qualities that we want him to be. Are we those things ourselves?
Right. Wow, that's deep. I like that.
Oh, I told her, I said, you got a TV show, you got a movie. She has a great idea. So we came to Vegas. They had wedding gowns for us to choose from, and we were going to stand in front of each other in a chapel, and they were filming us making promises to ourselves. Instead of making a promise to someone else when you marry them, you marry yourself and you make a promise that I will not do this. Exactly.
That's dope. I ain't gonna lie. That's
that was so amazing to me, and it was cathartic. It was beautiful. I didn't realize I was going to cry until I got up there and started talking. Oh,
wow.
I forgive myself for not having children. That's how I started. And I will not be angry with myself if down the road I cannot have children and it just never happens for me. I will not hate myself for that. Because a lot of women that have children just think it's automatic.
Right.
They don't even know that anybody else would have a problem having, conceiving. And I did. And especially with my ex-husband, being out there with all those women, it was like, I told him the one thing that I wanted in the world, I already had the career. I already got married. That was 2 of the things that I really wanted. But the one thing that I wanted more than all of those is to be a mother. Right. And here you are out there with these women, like, I mean, cold. You know what I
Let me
mean?
ask
So
let me ask you this, being that you mentioned that,
I'm
because
sorry, I'm jumping around. I know you
no, no,
asked
no,
about
no,
the
no, 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 no. This is what
reality
the show is
shows.
all about. It's about organicness. That's what the Vibe Show is all about. Organic.
Yeah, but I want to make sure I answer your
No,
question.
you're doing. I'm loving this right now. It's really a blessing. Seriously, this is
Good,
real talk right now. This is real.
good, good. All right.
Why do you think? Because, like, and things that I'm saying is, of course, an outside perspective. You know,
Yes.
why do you think that? You would think that Don Robinson, En
Hmm.
Vogue, that itself being having an opportunity to be able to actually be able to break through, because I know being a star at that height or whatever,
Hmm.
you're real guarded, every man want to be with you for motives and reasons or whatever. So here it is, a
Sure.
guy that actually gets an opportunity to get a shot.
Right.
Why
Yeah, I
do
get.
you think?
Well, you know what? He had a really, and I used to give excuses for him all the time. Anytime something would happen as far as the abuse part, because I couldn't come to terms with the fact that I was with someone that was abusive,
Mhm.
that I would even go for someone that would do that to me. I always watched my mother go through that and watch other women, her
Right.
friends go through that when I was a little girl or a young woman. And I would always say, "Oh no, a man ain't gonna put his hands on me. I won't, I'm not having that."
Right.
But when you get married, I felt like, especially this was during MySpace. That was the only social platform that was out there. There was no Facebook, no nothing. It was just MySpace. Most of the women that he had slept with, that he was with, were fans of mine. And
Are
he
you
told them who I was
serious?
because he had an abusive childhood. I don't want to get too much into him because he'll probably come around somehow and try to sue me. But
Right.
this is my truth. I have the right to tell it, but I just don't want to hear from him. But he had an abusive childhood, and that is, I thought I could love the hurt away. I think a lot of women do
Oh.
this and get in relationships that they think, oh, well, I know he showed me his bad side, but I think that if I love him enough that he will see the good in me and decide that he wants to change and that
Mhm.
he wants to be with me. And so he's willing to do what it takes. And in fact, my stepdad, when we first met him, he used to come and visit my mom or visit us and visit, come hang out with my mom for the weekend. He'd come in on a Friday with a gallon of
Mm.
gin, a
Are you
gallon
serious?
of gin, and it would say GIN. And it was it was organ what do you call it? It wasn't a name brand. What do you call it?
Not it wasn't Seagram's, it wasn't
No, it was
no name
generic.
brand.
It was
Okay,
generic
okay.
gin. So it was GIN, literally a yellow label
Wow.
with black writing on it. And he would come in with that gallon of gin, and by Sunday morning it was gone. My mother doesn't drink. My sister and I were too young to drink. He
Mm.
drank that by himself because he had such a rough life. His mother was warming herself by the stove back in the day when he was 9 years old, and they had one of those wooden stoves, and her dress caught on fire.
Oh my God.
Yeah, right in front of him and all the family. And the next thing he knew, she was in the hospital. He never got to visit her. She died of complications of pneumonia.
Oh
Today
man.
they could have handled it, but back then they
Right.
didn't know how to handle pneumonia and burns. And so bless her heart and bless him too that he grew up with that. And then I think 3 months after that, his father passed away in a car accident. So you're
Mm.
talking about someone who wanted to numb the pain, and I understood that innately at 14 years old when he came to live with us. Um, I found because he used to tear up the house. He was angry. He was mad. He wasn't hurt my mom. He would never put his hands on us,
Right.
but he was just angry, and he would lash out if she said the wrong thing or triggered him somehow. He would lash out, and before I knew it, we were upside down. The police are called. They take him off to jail. And the next day we come home from school, and my mother would have gotten him out of jail. She would have
Mm.
bailed him out. So I kind of watched that happen. He would never put his hands on her, though. That was what I loved about. But I asked him later because he got over the drinking. He got over the anger and tearing up the house. And I asked him what made, because when I was married, I was like, my ex-husband grew up with an abusive life as well. His was
Right.
so horrific. I always used to say to him, I don't even understand how you're still living. You are a beautiful person despite your life, but you have so much anger, so
Hmm.
much anger, and rightfully so. They did things to you. His mother was a prostitute. She was a 16-year-old white girl, white prostitute. His father was this guy who they call Oakland Slim, who was her pimp. And he was 22.
Dang.
So he found this little 16-year-old girl. Yeah. And it's like, that's how he put her on the street. And really, back then, men weren't wearing condoms. So I know
Right.
he thinks that that's his father. Like I said, I don't want to talk about him. That's his life. But I would always say to him, you survived so much and you're still allowing that pain and that anger. You have children of your own now with other women. Like before we met, kids that he had with his ex-wife, Tita. She and I are still good friends. We still talk.
That's a blessing.
And it is a huge blessing. And you have kids of your own when we met. So you have to be an example to your children, and you can't repeat what you did as a man because they watch you.
Yeah.
Young men watch men, and young women watch their mothers, so you have to be a different example. And I am here to love you through this. If we can, so we started counseling together, but his anger got the best of him. So I don't know. I think that he, because he would always say so I was singing background for him as well.
Well, we get the exclusive right now. I love you.
I was on stage with him and I would do shows with him. Thank you so much, Kano. But yeah, I would sing background because he was so talented. He was signed actually to Babyface for a minute.
Really?
Yeah, he was in a group called For Example. And he was talented. I mean, he's incredible. I wrote my best songs with him. We were a great team. I would always tell him we could be the next Ashford and Simpson. Like, we really wrote some incredible stuff.
Right.
And he's an amazing writer. He's an amazing person. He just had that one huge flaw, and that anger would overtake. And he would just, I'm like, we had a friend in the family that was a friend of both of ours. And he invested in my ex-husband because he was trying to doing his solo album.
Right.
And I said, well, Dre, why don't we do my solo album? Because I actually have a fan base. It makes sense to do mine first, and then we'll do yours. And he was like, no, I want this for me. Okay, that's fine. But that person that loaned us the money he said to me on many occasions, he said, Dawn, don't feel bad, because when your husband leaves you, he leaves all of us. I have an investment with him. I'm a man, and I was charmed by your husband the same way, in a different way, because I'm not into men.
Right.
But your husband is talented as hell. He's incredibly gifted. He's a good-looking man, and I know that there's good in him, and I see that. So that's why I invested in him.
Right.
And he put a penny into him. He didn't just put, I'm going to put $1,000 or $5,000. No,
right,
it was way more than that. Way more. Wow. So he said, it's just that he is a con artist, and he can't help it because he grew up with two parents that
were street people.
Street people. Yeah, street people. Although he had a grandmother that tried to help raise him, but his grandmother would call him, instead of calling him Andre, she thought it was too black of a name because she was a white woman. Right. So she called him Andy. Wow. And she would part his hair down the middle and try and make it straight as possible. You know what I mean? So that's why
he really messed up.
Father, I'm in this man's life because we're both supposed to shine each other,
right,
on each other and shed light. And there's just so much beauty that I see in him. It's like I could have been a therapist with him. I really could, because I learned so much about human nature and what people are capable of. We, as Black people especially, we go through a lot. We go through
I'm already out the gate.
Yeah, through the generations and our ancestors and all that stuff. So I just thought, oh my God. He got me with his music at first. That's how I wasn't even into him when I first met him. I thought, okay, well, you want to talk to me about music? Let's talk. Right. And he gave me a copy of his album, and I took it home, and I didn't even listen to it for 2 weeks. And then when I finally listened to it, I was like, oh my God. I called him, and he was like, wow, I didn't think you were ever going to call. I was like, okay, I just listened to your album. Is this you? Are you writing these songs? Are they cathartic? Right. Are you writing about yourself? And he said, yeah. I said, so Mama Didn't Say, because that was one of his songs. Mama Didn't Say was about you. And he said, yeah, that was my life. My mother was a drug addict. I left home at 11 years old. She didn't even know I was gone because she was on drugs. She was messed up. So, I see human nature, and I see the beauty in people before I see their flaws. Right. And after a while, I had to leave that relationship because it was too toxic. It was abusive, like I said. So I had to leave. But I wish him the best. He's just so freaking gifted. Like he's just amazing. He really is. And when you see people like that, and I know people, there's a show called Intervention, and they don't really do. They need to do intervention for abusive couples because women can be abusive too. My
Darn,
little
you know what?
my
It
stepbrother.
might be something that you can start.
Yeah, because I would do that.
You can
Absolutely.
do it. We need to. We gonna talk.
We'll talk. Okay,
Yeah,
that's a great
yeah,
idea because
yeah.
my stepbrother is literally 6'7". He's 6'9". I think I'm putting him too tall, but he's 6'7". And his girlfriend, common law wife, I guess it would be by now, is physically abusive to him because she knows
What?
he won't hit her back.
Right.
He knows that, and she knows how kind he is and how good-hearted. And he's not soft by any means, but he just doesn't fight back. She literally bit him in his chest.
Oh my God.
How do you even do that? Like the chest is hard to grab.
Right.
Not on his breast, but on his chest. And
Right.
she stabbed him behind his ear, and he
And
ran
he's
out of the
still there?
house. Oh God! And he's still with her.
Oh my God.
He's still with her. And we were trying to tell her he has a daughter with her. And we were trying to tell him, my dad, when he was still alive, was trying to tell him, you have rights as a father. Just because you're a man doesn't mean that you don't have rights, son. You need to know, what you're capable of.
Right.
And he never left. So he would leave every now and then. Like she stabbed him behind the ear, and he thought there was so much blood on his t-shirt when he ran. He left and he got on BART in Oakland, California, and came from San Francisco to my parents' place in San Leandro, which was right outside of Oakland. And he called them from the phone booth and said, I can't run because I'm too weak right now. I lost a lot of blood. And it was like 1 a.m. So it was nobody out there. You know what I mean? He was at the phone booth and said, please come pick me up. I'm at BART. And so men go through that too. They're just ashamed to talk about it. I'm a grown man. I'm a man. I'm a man.
Right.
I can't be out here with a woman hitting me. I can't. So, and as much as we tried, my sister tried, my stepdad tried, everybody, my mom, to love him through that, he's still with her. They just came out here to Vegas. They came by and visited they kept saying, can you come to the hotel? And my mom was like, no, you haven't even seen our house yet. You've never even visited. We just moved to Vegas. We've been here 5 years. You guys have never visited one time. You've never seen the house. We're not coming to you.
Right.
And when they got here, I was busy doing something that day. I had an interview, and I was living someplace else at the time. So this was about 3 months ago. And the next day they were supposed to come back so I could see them because I was too busy the day they came over here.
Uh-huh.
And the next day I got here and I'm like, okay, where are they? What's going on? And we kept calling and calling. And my mom said, finally, when I left, they picked up the phone and said, oh, we're back on the road. We're on our way to Oakland. She didn't want to come back here. She did not want to come back here because she knows how much we love him. So she's just like a man would be abusive. You keep your loved one or whoever you're in love with. When you want to control them, you keep them from their family. And she does that with my stepbrother. Yeah. And I was like, Bobby, you can't. If you can't see it, you can't see it when you're in that fog and that funk. And that's why I keep praying. It's like to wake us up, to take the veil from over our eyes, because sometimes you're just so busy, so caught up that you don't see the truth, even when it's right here,
Funky divas.
I'm sorry I got on this.
No. What you're doing is you bringing tears to my eyes is what you're doing, literally, because this is really deep. And a lot of people on this live right now, you're touching hearts, and a lot of people are expressing things that they're suffering and going through as well.
Yes.
So this is therapy, what we're doing right here.
Oh my goodness, good. That's so
therapy.
Good. I want to do a platform too. I know everybody and their mama has a podcast, but I really think that there's stuff. I am an empath. I've just realized that in my life. I am empathic, meaning someone that empathizes. I was that at a very young age. Like I said, I got a therapist for our family, a free therapist, because I knew that my stepdad had issues from his parents dying at such a young age. You can't go through what he went through and not be affected.
Right.
There's just no way. I was like, and I've always had a dear place in my heart for him because of that. So I do that with people. I just have it like that. I'm also feisty, so I'm on the other side of it too. So I don't know what kind of sign that is, because I'm Sagittarius and it's a fire sign, but I'm also empathic, and I have a lot of love, a lot of empathy. And I think my ex-husband saw that. That's
Mm-hmm.
abusive people find those things within the personality, and
Right.
they target them, and they know that, like I said, my stepbrother's girlfriend, she knows that he's not going to leave her no matter what she does to him, no matter what.
That's deep,
She
man.
knows that. Isn't that crazy for a woman
Yes.
to abuse a man? Like, and because he has so much pride, he's a man. I don't want to tell everybody that I'm being abused.
Right.
So he stays, he deals with it. And plus he has a daughter with her. So he doesn't know. She probably threatened that if you leave me, I'll kill her.
Right.
You know what
Right.
I mean? I wouldn't put it past this chick because she's crazy like that. She's crazy like that. So good. I'm glad, because we need to talk about stuff. There's a lot of mental illness, schizophrenia within the Black race, especially with our young Black men.
Right.
And a lot of it comes from, oh my goodness, they do experiments with candy, and we love candy. Black kids especially will probably spend a little bit of money, a little change in our pocket if we get um she's saying, I'm sorry, I'm trying to read these personal experiences. Sunshine. I'm sorry, Sunshine, I can't answer. You see what she's asking?
Yeah, she
You see
said
that,
40.
Kano?
She said 40% of men have experienced physical and emotional abuse at the hands of a partner at least once in their lifetime.
Wow. 40%. That is insane to me. That's like that. It should never be. But
Right.
I think of course, it stems from home. When women are abused, they abuse others. Just like men, when they're abused, they abuse others.
Right.
So yeah, a lot of men go through that, and they don't. Again, they don't want to talk about it because that's their ego.
Right.
Man,
Right.
you mean to tell me you can't beat this bitch's ass? You can't hold her back when she's hitting you? Hit her
Right.
back, nigga, hit her back. It's like, no, I
Right.
can't hold a woman, first of all. Because 9 times out of 10, you call the police or she calls the police. Look, he hit me. See, I got a black eye because he hit me. Yeah, I defended myself.
Right.
Or, I got scratches on my neck. Yeah, because I was trying to push you back because you're trying to physically harm me.
You know
You were
what's
trying to stab
crazy
me.
though? What's crazy about that is it's just really deep right here, because in a way, it seems like the system kind of caters to that type of behavior,
They do.
where it's not really balanced out.
They do. They do, Kano. You know why? Because it's a system set up to put mostly Black men in prison and
Exactly.
keep them there. And it's also to divide the homes, especially most times it's 9 times out of 10. That's that Black couple fighting again. You
Exactly.
know what I mean? So they're going to take the Black man off to prison, to jail, and lock him up and cause it over and over again for each other to fight, because they put us in such a, if we don't stop relying on the government for anything. I keep telling people, I was telling everybody from the top of COVID when it first hit in March, and they announced that everything was shut down. And
Hmm.
I was like, you guys, please utilize this time, that if you're going to be home anyway from a job that you hated anyway, don't
Hmm.
complain that you can't go to work because you hated that job.
I know, ain't that crazy?
Right? So now that you're home, utilize that time to research how to write a grant for yourself to start a business, to get a loan, to start a business, or find out what's out there that
Find out what you're
because
passionate about. I
that
mean,
what you're
like,
passionate
you
about,
know
or
what
what's
I'm
out
saying?
there. Yeah, what's out there that there's usually, when there's a void, that's when something will blow up. In other words, coffee was the thing that I forgot the guy who created Starbucks. He saw that coffee houses in Italy were the place to socialize, bring people together over a cup of coffee or a cup of tea.
Right.
And he said, and that's why he decided to start Starbucks. He bought Starbucks from another company. They were just selling coffee beans.
Hmm.
And then he made it a thing where we go to Starbucks every day because he saw that there was a void out there. So I'm like, you
Look
guys,
at it
utilize
now.
this time. And look at him now, a freaking billionaire. But I'm like, people, utilize this time. Don't sit around at home waiting for the government to do. If I hear stimulus again, I'm like, stimulate yourself, you guys. Please stimulate yourself. I know that a lot of people are out of work, but we're seeing, look at how many podcasts I've done in this time. People are figuring out how to start businesses of their own online.
Right.
Someone did an interview with T.I. recently, a woman, and I forget her name. I'm going to find it because I love her. But she was giving him financial advice. And she was saying, any human being out there does not utilize the World Wide Web, I think she said it like this. She said, the World Wide Web is the new real estate. It's online real estate.
Right.
and you have to create your own podcast or your own, if you bake cakes or you're a great gardener or a great storyteller, whatever it is that you do or you sell, or you're a great barber, you know, you
Right.
cut hair and you're a neighborhood barber, and send that to all your neighborhood, all the guys in the neighborhood, and tell them, you guys wear your mask, come by and I'll cut your hair at home. I don't have to be in the salon.
Right.
And one of the things that I've said for the last 10 years on my social media, I was like, I tell people all the time, as a celebrity, I get to live my dream. I was a singer at a young age. I wanted to be a star, and I became one.
Right.
And I'm grateful for that. But I know that most people are kind of like working at a 9 to 5 that they're really not happy with. They don't have their businesses.
Right.
We're all born with a dream, something that we love to do. So figure out what that is and keep working your 9 to 5, but work on your dream. Don't let that go. Don't come home and sit on the couch for the rest of the night and just watch TV while you're eating dinner.
Right.
Okay, watch TV while you're eating dinner. 45 minutes later, get up and go work on your dream. You got to give yourself at least an hour a day for your dream.
You know what my thing is, like what I've done and have conditioned myself to do is I feel like this. If you could give 8 hours or 16 hours or whatever hours you're giving to your employer, why wouldn't you want to invest those hours into yourself?
Oh my God. Woo-hoo!
Why is it even, I'm gonna get to it's always the lazy spirit when it comes to you.
Exactly.
But for the man, you gotta be there for 8 o'clock, man. Let me hurry up. I'm running. I gotta get there for 8 o'clock. I gotta, you know what I'm saying? Hey, I need you to work over, Don. You think you can work on such and such didn't come in today? You think you can work over for me?
Exactly.
Yes, sir. You have no problem at all.
Exactly.
Then when you get home and the laptop right there and the books is there for you to get that research in and do what you're trying to. I'm just gonna get it tomorrow, man. I'm tired, man.
Exactly. Or you get on the phone with your friends or your mom or your dad. You chit chat. You talk about bullshit. Most times the conversations we have with them are not about very much. Check in for 10 minutes and say, "Look, Mom, I gotta go because I got this project I'm working on. I'm researching something. I'm trying to figure things out for myself. So I gotta go. I love you. I'll talk to you tomorrow. Come on. You don't have to sit on. Hey, Robert, how are you? You don't have to sit on the phone all day long after work. There's this guy that I started talking to online, and it wasn't a dating site or anything like that, but we started talking online, and every day he would come home from work, because I don't date celebrities only. I mean, I've only
Hold up.
dated guys.
What you just said, Don? Hold up a second. What you just said? You don't do what?
I don't date celebrities.
Now hold up.
I haven't. I haven't dated a celebrity like that.
We got a real one on here right now. I told y'all she was real.
Thank you, Kato. So we started talking online, and every day he would come home from work and we would play music. He would play the music and I would listen to the songs, and we would do music trivia. Who was this playing? Right. I'm like, oh my God, that's Crosby, Stills and Nash. I mean, we would do a lot of R&B mostly, but what album is that on? Oh, that was LTD. Togetherness out, stuff like that. We would do all this trivia, music trivia. And after a while, I'm like, okay, it's been a month. Every day that you come home, it's nice that you call me. I'm glad that you check in, but what are you doing? So he was like, well, before we even started talking, I was like, I want to know that you have endeavors of your own, because I've been with too many men that were like, okay, Dawn's career. Mm-hmm. I'm going to go on the road with Dawn. I'm going to do this with Dawn. And Dawn's a celebrity. I'm going to be, no. You got to figure out shit for yourself. Dawn has her own life. I got my own thing.
Right.
So I wanted to know that he had his own. He said, oh, yeah, I'm trying to create whatever his business was. I don't want to embarrass him, but I'm trying to create this on my own. And I'm about to get it approved and get a loan for it. And I'm like, cool, man. Okay, now we can talk.
Right.
Because you have an agenda of your own. You don't have me as your, your end all be all.
Right. Right.
You have your own thing. You're not, because a lot of times the guys that I've dated have tried to get into my world, like I said, and they're too nosy, they're overbearing, they want to control. And I'm like, nope, not having that anymore. Let me check in with you first to see what you're bringing to the freaking table.
Right.
And so after another month, I was like, okay, what's up with your business proposal? Did you get it approved? Did anybody like it? Have you gotten a loan? Oh, no, it's not really the business proposal doesn't look the way I want. I said, but you said that you were getting ready to get approved for a loan. Now all of a sudden you're saying your business.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, he
Uh-oh.
got caught up. So he sent it to me because I said, I'll help you put it together.
Right.
I don't know much about it. My friend and I put mine together. I'm not a business,
Expert.
I'm in the business. Yeah, but I don't know that kind of paperwork and all that stuff. So I said, I'll help you put yours together and do an EPK, even electronic press kit. So he sent it to me and I was like, well, no wonder you have one picture here that's a little kid and it's cool what you're trying to do, but you need this to look like, wow, bam, boom. If I was an investor, I want to put my money into this because this is amazing.
Right.
But it didn't look like that. It was really boring. I said, so we got to fix it up. I said, let me send you mine and you can read it over and tell me what you think. And I sent it to him. Mine has, from the beginning, I have a table of contents, an executive summary, a mission statement, En Vogue, a little bit about me, and then En Vogue history, Lucy Pearl history, my budget, and then thank you to the investor who's checking me out. I appreciate your time. It was called Get to Know the Artist.
Right.
And it was, thank you so much for considering my proposal. I appreciate this. Because just because I'm a celebrity doesn't mean people are automatically going to give me a yes, a thumbs up. So I wanted to thank them for taking out the time to check me out. And I'm still waiting to this day. He never complied. He never said anything to me about, hey, wow,
Are you serious?
Not a word. And I would always ask him, have you read it yet? Have you checked it out? I know you're busy after work, but not really. Because you call me and you're on the phone for the rest of the night. Literally, he would fall asleep on the phone with me on the phone because he was, ahead a few hours.
So,
he was on the East
phone,
Coast. So
you can fall asleep with Don.
Well, he had to go to work. He had to work.
I'm just saying, I know that, but I'm just saying, just the whole thing, Don.
I understand.
He's on the phone with you.
It's okay. It was because I knew it was 2 a.m. for him. So you got to go to work. You can't be missing work just because you got to be on the phone with me. So I'd rather him be asleep than sitting up with me and then can't go to work. Then he's got another excuse. So yeah, he never ever looked at it. And I'm like, see, that is why we have to part ways, because I can't have someone who has no agenda, no endeavors, nothing looking forward to his own future.
As simple as that.
Yeah. And I was willing to help him with it. That's what killed me. If I'm putting myself in a point of view of a non-celebrity. Right. If a celebrity sent me something of theirs and I was not a celebrity, I want to see what the heck I'm looking at this for the first time. I'm the first person that gets to check out your work. You're kind enough to send that to me for me to check out. I would have been like, oh my God, I love what you did. And if you can help me with mine, that'll be even quicker for me to get signed. You know what I mean? I'm sorry, to get a loan, not signed, but for me to get a loan. And nope, not once did I hear back from him to say, hey, hell yeah, I want you to help me tomorrow when I get home from work. I want you to help me with my proposal.
Vibe Show Casper said, boy, if I wasn't engaged. Don's words is truth. God damn it, Don. I love your mindset and serenity.
Thank you so much, Casper. Yeah, wow. Yeah. I wish my fans could come in and say it, because I know that they were trying to get on. Because I thought you were going to be live. Is this live, Kano?
Yeah. This is not on Instagram, though.
Got it. Yeah, I know it's on YouTube, and I told them that.
Yeah, we live. We live.
I don't see them, though.
You don't see them in here? I see. No. Let me see. I see a bunch of people. I'm not sure.
Phonice and who else? Oshan and a lot of people that always come on and support. But it's okay as long as you know they're there. They're there. They know.
Now let me ask you this. Now we're gonna run through it. Now you left the group En Vogue in '97. Came back in 2009. Everybody was excited about that. I personally was excited about it.
I came back actually several times before that.
Really?
Yeah, we came back. We had conversations, we had meetings and stuff. So that we would always have meetings. 2008, we actually did the Don't Forget the Lyrics show with Wayne Brady. Yeah. So yeah.
Right. What was the issue? If we could just tackle it, what would you say was the real issue with why things couldn't just come back together and work?
Because some people want to be sheep. Some people are afraid to step up, just like we were talking about before. Some people just think, I'm okay with being here and not getting paid what I deserve. I'm okay with, and I was never okay with that.
Right.
I shouldn't say never. I was okay with that in the very beginning because I didn't know any better. I was okay with that because I was too afraid to speak up on my own when I first started seeing, okay, our producers have mansions. Okay, our choreographer has a mansion. Freaking choreographer.
Right.
Not Terry, not Cindy, Maxine, or Dawn, but our choreographer has a mansion. I started to wake up. And when I was waking up, I was trying to get Maxine and I would be the only two having a conversation about why making 2 cents a record is a problem. 2 pennies a record.
Wait a minute. You said 2 cents, Don?
2 cents a record. Yes, like, you know.
Yep. Come on. A record or a song?
A record. I wish it was a song.
Come on, Don.
But even that's not enough. But no.
Right.
We were making 2 cents a record.
It just sounded better, Don. If you
it sounded better, exactly. I can handle it too. When you say it like that, I was like, ooh, 2 pennies.
How could you possibly get, wait a minute, we're talking about platinum, multi-platinum albums.
Yep.
We're talking about millions of dollars being generated.
Yep. Known around the world, globally. If there's life on other planets, they know En Vogue. Yeah. And I was the only one to speak up about it. And when it's a long story, but to get to that point, they were like, well, we can't have any hidden agendas. Well, wait a minute. You're telling me, because Terry and I were both offered solo albums. Because the 4 of us, after 3, so let's see. So your first album, you're going to get a crappy deal because you don't have the leverage to ask for a better deal in the very beginning.
Absolutely.
You have to take what they give you, be happy with it. No complaints. Oh my God, we're going to be stars. We were fine with that.
Right.
After a while, it was like, wait a minute. So our producer is buying a brand new Porsche every single year. Now we're on the second album. We already sold millions on the first album. Let's renegotiate. Now, we didn't know what to ask for. We didn't know how to say, we didn't know the term renegotiate our contract. We didn't even know that was a thing.
Right.
But we knew that something had to change because we weren't getting paid the way that our producers were.
Right.
We weren't buying new Porsches.
But y'all putting in all the work, though.
Putting on all the work. Yep. And when the 4 of us finally agreed so we did Born to Sing album, Funky Divas album. Again, we never renegotiated our contract. Here we are doing Runaway Love. And after that, we did, let me see, I think between our Funky Divas album and Runaway Love, which was an EP, we did Don't Let Go. In the interim, the record company came because the 4 of us, Cindy, Terry, Maxine, and myself, agreed that we're not going into the studio until the record company renegotiates our contract.
Right.
And when they found that out, they were like, oh, by the way, Terry, do you want to do a solo album? And she said, yes. Now we agreed. The 4 of us said, we're not going in the studio. We're not going to go in the studio and comply with them. We're not going to sing a note until they give us more money. Because this 2 pennies a record it's not nothing. It's a joke.
Right.
It's bullshit. Excuse me, but it's crap. And we agreed on that. And then before we knew it, Terry was in the studio doing her solo album.
Wait a minute. So Terry
didn't
talk to y'all about anything? Because last time y'all talked, y'all all agreed that y'all were going on strike together as a unit to get more money.
That's exactly it.
I got you, Don. I keep telling you, I got you.
Exactly, Kato. Yes, because I keep describing it as, every job, I should say corporation has a union.
Right.
So the sanitation department stands up for their people.
Right.
You will have trash piled up to people's ceilings or people's rooftops outside if the city doesn't get what they want for their people.
Absolutely.
And there was no one speaking for us because our manager was managing Denny and Tommy, our producers. It was a conflict of interest. So that's why they came to Terry and said, do you want to do a solo album? And she fell for the bait and said yes. 7 months later, now Cindy, Maxine, and I supported Terry. We supported her album, went to her first show at the Pantages in Los Angeles and supported her. She had 2 singles out, 2 videos. So that means that the record company gave her budget, put on her shit. And then when the record company came to me, it was 7 months later. And
Right.
Cindy and Maxine and I didn't know. Cindy didn't want to make a decision against Terry because she felt like we were going to get sued if we made a move.
Right. Right.
I'm like, but the record company is by default right now. They've breached their contract.
Basically, they violated. They're right. Right.
In a sense, because there was a clause in the contract for us all to have a solo right or solo rights within that contract.
Mm-hmm.
So technically, they would have probably said, "Well, no, there's a clause that says that Terry has the right to do a solo album." We could have sued Terry. That's what we could have done.
I mean, really and truly, because like, okay, the conditions of the contract of you guys as a group.
Yes.
You know, which means that decisions need to be made as a group.
As a group, absolutely.
And all members have to agree.
Yeah. Well, I don't even know if that was in there. They have to agree with the record company.
Okay.
And with our production company, because we had so we had 2 Tough Enough productions, and through 2 Tough Enough, we were signed to Atlantic Records.
Okay.
So we had a production deal, basically.
Oh.
Mm-hmm.
Now, see, you know, this is the thing that gets me. You know,
morally, Terry should have had our backs. Morally.
I mean, because that right there hurts more than anything. With coming into a situation together as sisters. Yes. You know what I'm saying? And you know, I mean, basically it's you guys against the label.
Against the industry. Yeah.
And En Vogue is a group. It's not just Terry, Maxine. It's not. It's you guys together. You know what I'm saying? So you had more power, really.
Yes. There was strength in numbers.
You knew the power.
But one of the fans just recently said to me that it seemed like they were trying to slate Terry to be solo.
Really?
Had her album been successful, she probably wouldn't have come back to En Vogue. Or she may have come back if her album was successful, but only when she chose to. Hey, Phonies. Yeah. Yeah. So it was a mess. And then they came to me and asked me the same thing. And by then I was like, heck yeah, because I'm going to lose my house if I don't do a solo album.
Right. Right.
Hey guys, how are you? I think that was Shaterica. Yeah. So I was like, yes, because Terry's out on the road. We don't have money to pay bills. So if I don't do this, I will probably lose my house.
Messed up. I hate to hear that. I'm serious. Like, because, you know, these are people that we grow to love.
Yes.
And it impacts us as well. I'm gonna speak for myself. It impacted me and so many other great artists, your TLCs, your new additions, why is this just from your expert experience and years in the game, why do you think that the industry is designed that way?
Yes. Satan rules the world right now. It's like that. This is his planet. You know what I'm saying? It's like any dark forces that are on this planet, that is what belongs to him. You know what I mean? It wasn't set up for us to be. It's like, I wish that people that really loved music were the ones to run the music labels.
Right.
Because you got a job as an A&R person doesn't mean that you're a music person.
Right.
Doesn't mean that you just got a job to do. You know, it doesn't necessarily mean that you care about these groups and these acts. I mean, how many people have we seen, even in the time that En Vogue has been here, since we dropped in 1990, there's so many girl groups that came and went because nobody really got behind them. Nobody pushed them. They were tax write-off for the record labels. You feel me? So I'm so grateful that this music industry has changed to where now it's in the favor of the artists, but so many groups have fallen off and so many artists got cut.
We don't see a lot of them anymore. Right. We don't see a lot of groups and stuff like that anymore. No. And it's the same cycle over and over and over again. And it even gets to the point sometimes, let's just say, you know, we can use Michael and we can use Prince, you know, these two people who actually, you know, got tired, came in the game very, very young, didn't really have childhoods and all of this stuff or whatever, sacrificed and dedicated their lives to entertaining and to actually want to take back control and trying to speak out and educate. And we see these same deaths happen the same way. I don't think that that's just a coincidence.
It is not a coincidence.
I really don't
not at all. No. But you got to say, this is what I'm upset that Michael I think he grew up Jehovah's Witness, which is
Mhm.
great, but I don't think that he was in touch with God in that way. You
That's
have to
good.
stay prayed up, period, point, and to the blank, because this
Right.
business is full of evil. Shaka Khan, when
Now
Whitney
she
Houston,
said that.
when she passed away,
I
exactly,
love
she
that
said,
interview.
exactly on CNN, she said, I could
Hmm.
have had a totally different life if I would compromise myself
Right.
in that way for this business. I could have done that.
Right.
And I could have been huge. I could have been, Beyonce. I could have been much bigger than I was with Rufus and by myself as Shaka Khan, just
Hmm.
solo,
Hmm.
had I compromised myself the way they wanted me to. So unfortunately, Michael fell prey to that. They always know the ones. They
Yeah.
always know the ones that they can turn out or destroy in some way. And if you're not strong in will, if you're not strong in character, if you're not strong in your faith, if you are not strong in your power and knowing who you are, you will fall prey to all of that stuff.
Right.
And Michael was he was a victim at a young age. They groomed him. They destroyed him. I mean, I've heard recently that he was, molested at a young age and turned out. So there's a
Right.
lot of, nobody knows. Nobody was with him in that room except the person who did it, if they did
Right.
it at all.
Right.
And I pray that he didn't go through that. But there were a lot of telltale signs about him going through that just because he just loved being around children. Not that he was doing anything to them. I think that he
Right.
thought being around kids was pure.
Because he was still a kid himself. He never had
He's still a kid
a
mentally.
childhood. His
Exactly. Right.
mentality was like that. You know what I
Bless
mean?
him. Yeah, bless him. And to hell with everybody that destroyed him in that way and didn't see to it that he was taken care of and protected.
Right.
Any child in the music industry or the entertainment business as a whole, why do you think they want young NFL players to come in at, sometimes from high school? They
Right.
want to manipulate and destroy.
Right.
Turn them out.
And,
Turn
and
them
and
out.
we always see where the people that they come in with, that strong unit, people who really got your back, some kind of way they get faded out.
Pushed
They're
away.
not the man. We
Exactly.
seen it with Usher. We
Yep.
seen it with Usher. His mom, long as he was attached to his mom, he was protected. Everything was going good. And
Exactly.
as soon as he disconnected from her, here
Yep.
comes, it just went left.
Well, she handed him to people. She handed him to Diddy. I want my son to understand the business. And sometimes when you put your hands, I'm not saying Diddy did anything. I'm just saying you might put your kids in the wrong hands.
Right.
Tevin Campbell's mom let him go.
Oh my
He
God.
was around
I
the
hate
wrong
that. I
people.
hate
It's like
that.
you cannot do that. I'm not saying anybody that got a hold of Tevin were the ones who turned him out.
Right.
I'm just saying that you have to be careful with kids because they are prey in this industry. They are. They're sitting ducks. They're like lamb to slaughter,
Right.
sheep to slaughter. You have to protect the babies. You have to.
How did you protect yourself, Dawn? Like, because like I said, all you girls, I mean, still to this day, you guys are still gorgeous as ever. Came
Thank
in the
you so
game,
much.
y'all changed
Yeah.
the game. Y'all brought, to me, I felt like when you guys hit the scene, I felt like you guys brought a different energy to the game. It was
Right.
different. It was
Wow.
like, free your mind. It was, women, y'all stand up. We're not taking it no more. Like, it was that type of energy. You brought fashion to the game. You
Yeah.
just
Wow.
brought that aggression to the game that we wasn't really accustomed to.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Exactly.
How did you guys, or did you guys ever have situations or whatever where y'all were approached in order to rise? Because you guys
We were
really
too old. We were too old. They knew that they couldn't. First of all, I have too much of a mouth.
okay.
I'm not the one, and I will tell everybody that this happened, or they can't just take us and manipulate us and sexually abuse us. There's no
Right.
pedophilia with a grown woman.
Right.
You know what I mean?
I got you. Yeah.
But there is the casting couch that does happen. Harvey Weinstein, definitely did that. There were a lot of women that were accosted by Cosby.
Right.
If you want success, this is what you have to do to get it, type of thing. And it's unfortunate that they have to do that.
Right.
But again, Satan wants souls. The dark forces that be out there want souls. They want people to be turned out. They don't want you to be happy. They want you to be to destroy others. They don't want you to be kind and loving. When we did the reality show, I was telling them when I came in, I'm like, this is a way for us to have a platform that was showing the world that we support each other as Black women, and that we are supporting each other on our way back to stardom, back to the top of the charts.
Changing the narrative.
Exactly. And they didn't want that, though. Come on. What do you mean? We want
Sad.
Black women to be step and fetch it. We want buffoonery. We want hatred for each other. That's what we want. We don't want you guys to support each other. Are you kidding me?
I think it went out with that Cosby era when we had those type of shows. And I mean, Tyler Perry is he
But
you know,
while he was doing that show, he was turning women out.
Exactly.
He was taking advantage of them. So yeah,
we didn't know that.
You're one thing on camera, right?
Right.
We didn't know.
Right.
But you're one thing on camera. Maybe that's why it folded, because God knew that he wasn't doing what he was supposed to do. Like I think someone said it best. Any woman would have given themselves pretty much to Cosby if he wanted it, but he chose to use that drug because he wanted to do things to them that was
unspeakable.
unspeakable.
Didn't even have to even do that shit. That's the thing that get me. Like, you Cosby,
but he had a fetish. He had a fetish, and he wanted to do some. He wanted to do stuff to them that they were unable to fight back. And that sickness is what got him caught, because you can be Harvey Weinstein and do that same shit and get away with it because you're white.
Right.
Black people are supposed to know better. Black men know that we have struggled as women and men in this business, in any business. You know better than to do that stuff. You are not. Dina Howard came to my house before she actually came out with her first hit.
That's my best friend, Adina.
Adina's
that's my boo right there. That's my sister right there. Yes.
Adina's
a real one. She's a real one.
But I told her before she got into this industry, she was getting ready to come out with her album. She came to my house with her friend. I forgot his name. I want to say Andre, but whatever his name is. He brought it to the house because she was coming out and he wanted her to talk to me, and it was Thanksgiving. So I was cooking.
Right.
And she was saying, well, I want to be the next Madonna. And I said, but Madonna can do a lot of things that we as Black women cannot do. You got to be careful. That fine line is right there, and we can't cross that line. Being, sexually free, the world is still not ready for Black women to be just out there like that. So you got to be careful, Adina. And I was hoping that she heard me, but yeah, it's like we can't do the same thing white people do.
No.
They get away with that because they're white. They got the people to protect them. All the forces come together and say, okay, this is Madonna. We got to protect her from all the bad press and all that, because she's Madonna. She got that. We're not capable of all of that stuff,
Romardo T. Hunt said Adina Howard, another one who stood up to Sylvia Rome.
Did she really? Good for her. I didn't know that.
What is it about? Like, do you think that they position people like Sylvia in position as controllers to control and
the agenda? Yeah, she's going to speak to their agenda, of course, unfortunately. And I told her this. She called me at my house one time because she was pissed off that she said that I was in a photo shoot that we had for Don't Let Go, that I was the one talking shit about her. Really? Because I told her, I said, Sylvia, first of all, aren't you Sylvia Rome? Like, you're calling my house because you're upset that you heard that I was talking about you?
Right.
I said, first of all, or second of all, everybody in that room, including Cindy, Terry, Maxine, our choreographer, Frank, and the rep from the record company, I think her name was Lynn. Whatever her name was, she was talking shit about you just like I was.
Right.
Just like Cindy, just like Terry and Maxine. We were all laughing and we were all talking about you.
And you got singled out.
Newsflash, because right now somebody's talking about me and I can't stop every conversation that's happening. Right now somebody's talking about you, Sylvia. You can't stop every conversation. Why are you upset that we were talking about you at all? Like, you're Sylvia Rowan. You shouldn't be affected by what we talk about.
Or was it truthful? The things that were being said, that's why you're so puffed up.
Is that why it bothered you so much? Exactly. It's the powers that be think that they hold the key. And I told her, she said, well, do you know who I am? I'm Sylvia Rowan, and I'll do this and that. And all the New York came out of her right then. And I said, Sylvia, I definitely know who you are, but I also know that you're not God. You didn't give me this voice to sing with. You didn't give me this mind to think with, or these legs to walk. As long as I can move and have able body and have a mind to think with and a voice to sing, I will always be okay.
Amen.
You don't scare me. Like, I'm not. I think she was able to hold me back from certain things, because when I signed to Jimmy Iovine, I didn't want to sign to Dr. Dre directly because his label was too new. And I didn't want there to be, if I had a conflict of interest with him, I'm sorry, if I had a disagreement with him and I signed to his label.
You wouldn't have had nobody to go to when you had an issue.
if he
Right.
was my manager, if he was my producer and my
And my
and the
manager.
label.
Exactly.
So I signed to Jimmy Iovine, and as soon as I signed, he was like, "Oh yeah, so Sylvia Rowan and I were born on the same day. She's like my sister." And I knew at that moment that
You
I
were
was
so
not.
screwed.
Yeah, I was in
You were
trouble.
fucked.
I was in trouble. Exactly, I was fucked. Exactly. So,
God, man.
and so I know that she's been able to do certain things, but again, it's about learning all the lessons. Stop being so angry, and because I was angry when En Vogue first pushed me out of the group. I was very angry and upset. I was out
I
of
thought you
body.
left on your own.
No,
They
no.
actually kicked you out of the group?
Technically, I did leave on my own because I could have stayed and did it their way. This was after 8 years of being together.
Right.
The record company comes to us and says, "Okay, Dawn, well, Terry, you do your solo album first." Terry's solo album was almost done, or she was actually getting ready to go on the road when I started my solo album. It was divide and conquer. It was a strategic plan that they had. Oh, we're off for Terry's solo album, and we're off for Dawn's solo album, and then the group is divided at that point. I'm sorry. Yeah, the group is divided at that point. So if we're divided, we can't fight back. We can renegotiate our contract.
Right. And it was already divided when Terry chose to take that solo deal.
Well, we were divided when she started dating our producer. That was in the beginning.
That's always failure right there.
Yes, it's failure. Absolutely, it's failure because it puts her in a predicament of she's over here and we're over here. I'm sorry, trying to get in the screen, but yeah, sideways.
You're perfect on my end.
She's over here and we're over here.
Right.
Terry and the group.
That's selfish though, because like I think if she would have came and talked to you guys, at least gave that. I think that you guys, because I don't think that y'all had hater spirits or
it wasn't about hater spirits.
or
I think
anything.
that we deserved as a group. We hadn't been paid.
Yeah.
Why are you going in the studio?
Yeah, y'all was supposed to stick together, right? All the way through it.
Yes, we had agreed on this. So I don't think we weren't ready for her solo album. We weren't ready for mine because I fell for the same bait that Terry fell for. They came to me and asked the same thing, and the record company came to me, and I was like, Cindy and Maxine, I'm sorry, y'all, but if I don't do this album, I'm gonna lose my house. Because Terry's on the road. She can't get in the studio with us right now. We can't get an En Vogue album. Sorry, we can't get an En Vogue album because Terry is gone. She's over here. She's doing her own thing. So I can't wait for you guys to make up your minds and figure out, because this is what I thought we should have done. The three of us should have held the record company, Cindy, Maxine, and myself. We should have held the record company accountable for the fact that they took Terry into the studio. They left us high and dry. We should have left Terry's ass high and dry and went and got another deal. I think we would have had the right to leave the label at that point.
Right.
I'm sure that our attorney could have found a loophole to get us out of that situation.
Absolutely.
And we could have gone.
Now already was being screwed already. So they wouldn't go contest that and try to fight with y'all with that. They'd been like, well, look, go ahead on. Because they feel like y'all wouldn't have been able to do anything without Terry anyway.
But this is the thing. I brought in an attorney. His name is Donald Passman. He wrote a book called All You Need to Know About the Music Business.
And what's his name again?
Donald Passman. Donald. Passman. Passman. It is like the go-to for the music industry. It's a little too hard in some points to understand. So you have to be an attorney because he's an attorney as well. So I got him and I hired him at that point. And I said, please, Mr. Passman, can you explain? Because at that time he had Janet Jackson as one of his clients. And I was like, okay, he has a Black woman as a client. He could explain this to Cindy, Terry, Maxine, and me. Why we have the right now to renegotiate our contract. Because they were afraid, especially Cindy, that if Sylvia Rowan found out that we were trying to renegotiate our contract, that she's going to serve us with a cease and desist. I was like, you guys, she has to let us go.
Y'all served y'all purpose.
2 pennies a record. 2 pennies a fucking record, excuse me. In that right there, 2 pennies a record, Sylvia would have to let us go. He got on the
Have
phone with us.
anybody made 2 pennies a record though? Like, this is unbelievable.
It's like, what do you, child labor laws in other countries, third world countries?
Shit, that ain't that's not even Don. That's not even what do you call it? That's not even work.
Union scale.
Yeah.
It's not even union scale, but yeah, exactly.
Minimum wage more than that.
Exactly, minimum wage. Yeah, you're right. You're absolutely right. Yeah. So I told them, you guys, I'm bringing in Donald Passman because he's going to explain to us why we have the right now to renegotiate our contract. We're not going to be in trouble for anything. Sylvia Rohn, he said, not only does Sylvia Rohn have to let you go in any court of law, if you guys said 2 pennies a record, the judge would say, okay, ma'am, Miss Sylvia Rohn, not only do you have to let Cindy, Terry, and Maxine and Dawn go, but you have to pay them a severance fee. What do you call it? A fee to let them go. I don't know what that's called. You have to give them, you got to pay them because you never paid them the whole 8 years they were with you.
Damn.
The only way that we made money was being on the road, and that was barely. That was not like, oh my God, I can buy a mansion like my freaking producer or my choreographer. Come on now.
Man, this is unbelievable. We're talking about En Vogue. We're talking about multi-platinum albums. I'm talking about
mind. Never gonna get it. Yes. Ooh, pop. Yes. All of that. Come on. It was insane. It was
that's disgusting, man. Like
those
really,
people
really
got
is.
away with highway robbery. And I always say, if there's a place in hell, they're going. All of them. Because they didn't listen. They didn't listen. They wanted to rip us off as opposed to, you know what? I have a mansion and I'm the producer of this group. So let me make sure that these girls are taken care of the exact same way as me.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Because if I don't, this is what happens. Anytime people are not happy, like I keep saying over and over again, people are not happy at a corporation especially. The union says, okay, we're on strike. We're on strike. We're not coming back in. We're going to stay out until they give us better wages, until they give us lower taxes, and until they fix the situation here at work, because our working conditions are not good either. Last I looked, we don't have good toilets. We don't have good food in our cafeteria. You know what I mean? We're working for hard. We're working for wages that we're working way too hard for the wages we're being paid. 2 cents a fucking record. Are you kidding me right now? I can't help but get angry. And
I was about to ask you that, like you know,
I find my way back to it.
Makes you feel some, and I'm sorry.
Yeah,
I'm sorry,
okay.
Don.
Look, you didn't do nothing. Thank you, Kano. But our record company sure should have been. And when we were on the phone, me and Sylvia, she's like, "Don't you know that other artists go through the same thing? You're not the only one. You're not the first group to go through this." I was like, I don't give a damn. I don't care about, I love all those groups because she was naming groups. I was like, I love all those groups, but it is about En Vogue. We look to you because you're a Black woman. We look to you as a mother figure. You should have been taking care of us because we took care of you. Yes, you were Sylvia Rohn before we met you, but now because of us, you're a household name. People know who the hell Sylvia Rohn is because of En Vogue. Take care of us. That's all I'm saying. I'm not asking for above and beyond. I'm not asking for special treatment. I'm just asking to take care of the group. And because I did that,
you were blackballed.
I was blackballed. Yeah, to a certain point. But there was a lot, Kano, I'm telling you, there were a lot of things that I had to learn. I had to get over my anger when the girls pushed me out. Because, like I told them in that last meeting that we have, I can do battle by myself. It's been 8 fucking years. The same woman that I told you I had a phone call with, Sylvia Rohn.
Yeah.
She was actually at that meeting the last time we had.
Are you serious?
Yeah, she was there. We were getting ready to do our 4th album, which became EV3.
How did the energy feel just, being in that same room with
even with the
girls
over and over and over again? It was awful because I thought when we got to that meeting, it was supposed to be, they told us it was going to be a creative meeting. Sylvia Rohn is flying in from New York to Los Angeles to meet with us. Who was it? It was Terry's room, Maxine, Cindy. So it was Maxine, Cindy, and Terry, me, Sylvia Rohn, our managers, 2 of them. And then I look, and this was all who was supposed to be there, 7 people. But when I got to the meeting, I'm like, okay, why are our attorneys here? And when I walked in, I couldn't really talk because Sylvia Rome was already in the middle of a conversation. So when I got into the room, I had to immediately sit down where I stood because there was no place else to sit. This room was full of people, like 9, 10 people.
Wow.
Yeah. And I was like, okay, why are they here? So I'm looking at Sylvia. She's sitting straight across from me on the couch. There was Sylvia Rome straight across from me.
Could she look you in your eyes?
One more time?
Could she look you in your eyes?
I don't remember. I don't remember really because I was so out of body what she was getting ready to tell me. I wasn't really paying attention.
Right.
So I don't remember if she was looking down at the floor or down at the table in front of her because it was a table as well. Terry was sitting on the end of the couch, which is weird because she was facing the couch. She was not. She was sitting like this. If this is the couch, you're supposed to sit facing forward. Terry was sitting like this. So she was sitting sideways. So to talk to me, she had to turn her head. And so there was Terry on the end, Cindy next to her, Sylvia Rohn, one of our managers. Then on the side of him, there was another female manager, Carol. Then our attorneys. Maxine was sitting to my right on the floor. And Sylvia Rohn said, so Dawn, I was telling the girls that we can't have any hidden agendas, blah, blah, blah. We are, we're putting a lot of effort into this project this year. I said, okay. She said, well, you have a solo album. So I said, yeah, I do. And you knew that. But my solo album has never affected anything that the girls are doing. Not one time has it affected the En Vogue album. I'm still in the studio. I'm recording with the group. I'm here every single day at the studio. How does my solo album have anything to do with this conversation right now? What is this about? Well, we can't have any hidden agendas, blah, blah, blah. We can't have this and we can't have that. I said, so where's my hidden agenda? I've recorded everything. Right Direction, I started naming all the songs. Right Direction, Too Gone Too Long, all of the songs that we have on this album so far. I've been at the studio every single day and I've done exactly what I have to do. And exactly, the energy spoke before Sylvia Rohn said a word because they were quiet when I got in the room. And she just continued talking actually. But yeah, so the way they treated me though, that was the energy. So yeah, you're absolutely right. Exactly. So she said, well, we're putting, the Atlantic Records is putting a lot of money into this project, millions of dollars that they're putting behind you ladies. And we don't want any hidden. I said, so did Terry have a hidden, because I said, you're talking about my solo album, but Terry did a solo album too. What's different about Terry doing a solo album? She did one too. And so Terry turned to me and said, it's just different, Dawn. It just is.
Are you serious? Really?
And I was like, what? No, it's not different. It is no different. You started in this group with me. We both did an audition at the same exact time. Cindy, Terry, Maxine, and Dawn at the audition. What's different? I don't understand what you're talking about. And I said to Cindy and Maxine, I said, Cindy was sitting across from me, like I said, Cindy and Maxine, I said, you're going to be on the hot seat one day. You're going to be sitting right where I'm at. And Cindy was like, yeah, I got to think about that. Yeah. Because you're going to be ousted just like you guys are doing me today, out of nowhere. Sylvia Rohn did not like the fact that I slighted her and I outsmarted her. When it came to my solo album, you're going to kick me out of this group. Basically, when I started recording my solo album, like I said, Terry was on the road and she called me and she's like, okay, I know you've done 3 songs right now, but we're going to pull you out of the studio and pull your project and we're going to go ahead and start the En Vogue album. And I was like, no.
Terry telling you this.
No, Terry didn't say that. No, Terry was on the road. Sylvia.
Okay, Sylvia telling you
I'm sorry.
this.
Yeah, Sylvia called me and said, we're going to pull your album. We're going to put you guys back in the studio. And I was like, no, I'll do it. I'm going to do the En Vogue album, but I want you to let me go as a solo artist because you didn't take my solo album seriously like you did with Terry.
No push, no. And I was very upset about that. Great project. And no push, you could tell no money invested into the visuals at all. Absolutely. I mean, bare minimum. I was just so disappointed.
No. That album happened later. The album that did come out was later. That wasn't Sylvia Rohn's album. That was on Q Records. That was
right. Even that one didn't even have the push behind it.
Because it didn't have the right. It didn't have the right vehicle. It had the guy that signed me, Alan Rubens, was caught embezzling money. The record label was too new and they didn't know what they were doing. So 9/11 hit, they crumbled. They fell apart. And what's his name? Joey McIntyre was on the pop side, and I was on the R&B side. So they only had two artists,
Right.
but they didn't know what they were doing. So it was bound to fall apart, especially when someone is embezzling. There's an investigation that has to take place. There's a lawsuit. All of that stuff happened, and he's not focused on my project because he's messed up in the game. He messed himself up, really.
Right.
He embezzling money. Yeah, he was probably going to jail. So he had to protect himself. He wasn't thinking about my album.
I'm sorry, I
So-
went left. So Sylvia said that to you.
Thank you so much, Kano. But I love that I went through these adversities. It made me so strong. I cannot tell you. I think you've seen, especially now with all these interviews that I've been doing, I've been able to speak about these things and talk about.
It's a form of therapy. It's release. You're releasing it.
It's cathartic, exactly. And I'm
Yeah.
grateful for it because I was never a victim. And I want everybody to know that I am not crying victim and talking about the girls because they did this to me and they kicked me out. No, it wasn't that at all. They kicked me out because I was powerful. I spoke to Sylvia Rohn in a way that she didn't like. I stood up for myself.
You didn't do this. You didn't do this to her.
No, exactly.
You looked at her like,
Sylvia, okay.
Right.
I didn't bow down. No.
Right.
You're kicking me out because you don't like the fact that I talk shit to you. Like I stood up for myself.
And
you
I'm
didn't
saying,
like
where's our fucking money?
Exactly. Yeah. Right.
Like,
So
for real.
yeah. So because I did that, and if I were the other girls, I would have been scared too. But I asked Cindy. We saw each other 2 years after En Vogue, and after they kicked me out, I should say. And I was at a party and she was there. The one I told you, our choreographer had a mansion. We were at his mansion at a party.
Go figure. Go figure.
Go figure, right? But Cindy was comfortable because Cindy had a mini mansion of her own. Her husband was a professional baseball player. You know, when they met, he was playing for Cincinnati Reds. So she was taken care of in a way that we were not. So Cindy could sit and ride the fence and kind of glide things through and take her time to make decisions where we were like, what's going on?
What are we going to do?
Exactly. We need to get this together. So she was okay. And not that she was slow playing it because of that. It's just that she wanted to take her time and make decisions. And I get it. But it's like, Cindy, come on. Make a decision so we can, work this out. But she was at the party and she was with her baby, her brand new baby. She just had her second child. And her and her husband went in the living room. When I walked into this great room, sorry, I said living room? No, great room.
Yeah, let's make sure we get that correct too. The great room.
Yeah, get the terms together now. This is no living room, okay?
In her baby mansion.
No, it wasn't hers. It was our choreographer.
His mansion too.
His mansion, yeah. He actually had a mansion, not a baby mansion. And so we talked, and she asked my ex-boyfriend at the time, her husband came and asked him if I would have lunch with her. And he's like, yeah, Dawn is still Dawn. She hasn't changed. She still loves you guys. She still loves the girls. So Cindy and I had lunch maybe about a week after that. And my mom said, when you go to lunch with her, just ask her why they kicked you out, why they didn't have your back. So I was like, well, Cindy, so she had these two little bottles, crystal bottles, and she unfolded them that I had given to her for Christmas when we first met. And one for her birthday, one for Christmas. And you can put, they're like crystal bottles. They're really pretty. And for women anyway. And you can put perfumes or oils in them and everything. So she said, do you remember these? And she set them on the table. And I was like, no. And I picked one up and I was looking at it. And I was like, oh, they're so pretty. I was like, did I give you these? And she said, yep, you gave me this one for my birthday and this one for Christmas. Wow. I was like, oh my God. She said, every day I go into my bathroom because me and my husband have a girl and guy bathroom. His and her bathroom.
Really?
Yeah. So when I say that she had a mini mansion, yeah, go figure, right? So she could go one way, I guess, to her bathroom is what it sounded like. And it splits. So she can go one way, he can go the other. And she said, every day I'm brushing my teeth and I'm thinking about you because I see these bottles sitting there. And I'm like, I miss Dawn. I got to make amends with Dawn. She said, and I said, well, my mom wanted me to ask you why you didn't have my back, why you turned on me, why you guys, she said, Dawn, we knew you were right, but we were too afraid to fight the label. That, again, is where a corporation, because Atlantic Records is a corporation, and the little people down here, and the corporation is, that's the fear. She said, we knew you were right, but we were too afraid to get behind you because the record label was going to kick us out. I was like, Cindy, oh my God, we had all the power. They were not the power. We were the power, not the record label, but us. If we stand down and we don't go in the studio the way we told Terry, don't go in the studio, and Terry went into the studio anyway. It destroyed this beautiful group because at that point, I'm like, okay, well, shit, if they can't beat them, join them. So when the company came to me, I did the same thing that Terry did, which was awful. I take full responsibility for that shit because I hate fear. And I should not have allowed fear to make me afraid to, I'm going to lose my house. You might lose your house, but you keep your integrity intact. You know what I mean? You stood by your girls, and that's what I should have done the same thing.
Right.
The energy. Yeah, exactly. Thank you, Leanne.
Man, you know, Dawn, like this is really like this. I think this may be the deepest interview.
Oh
No,
my
like
gosh.
no,
Really?
seriously, no, I'm serious. Like
Wow. Kato.
this is iconic, and you know, we're wrapping up the season, preparing for next year's season, which I'm bringing you back on because we got a lot of stuff to talk about, about
Yes.
the future. You know what I'm
Oh,
saying?
yeah, exactly.
You know, so much to talk about.
Yes. Well, I'm working on
I
a
want
book.
to. Yeah, I was just about to ask you. I want to ask you about the book as we're wrapping up. A few things I want to ask you. The book, in general, I want to ask you about that
Yes.
because I'm super excited. I've gotten wind about it, and I'm excited.
Well, this is the thing, Kano. People keep saying, Dawn, if you keep talking about this whole En Vogue thing, you're giving away your whole book. I'm like, no. There is so much to put in my book, and
I
there's
know,
so much
right?
to discuss. And
I
oh my
know.
God, yeah, there's so much to discuss about the book, and so many details that I'm not giving in these interviews. It's like I lived 30 years. I got to talk about in a book. I'm not putting 30 years in an interview.
Right.
Hey, Roman, how are you? So yeah, I'm talking about these things, but I'm not giving everything away. There's no way you can do that in an interview.
Are you afraid,
So,
like with the book, like, because I know that when you know, it's this whole thing of when people saying that, you know, people with the type of stature and status that you have, experienced years in the game, you've seen a lot of things, you know, a lot of things. Do it seems people get kind of afraid and they get antsy and like, oh, Dawn's finna put out a book. Oh Lord, oh, you know what I'm saying? Like, are you getting that type of vibe from people when you're speaking book?
I haven't felt that about my book. It's just about talking about Illuminati and all that crap that's out there, supposedly. And I don't fear any of that. I don't fear men. I don't fear anybody. I don't care. To me, I know that I'm prayed up. First of all, that's why I don't fear. But when you're telling the truth, that always stands for itself. You know what I mean? It's like, no more of the days where you have a Martin Luther King or you have, Malcolm X. Everybody's speaking truth today. And I speak to my truth. I live this. I have the right to talk about this. I am prayed up.
Absolutely.
I'm surrounded by light at all times. So there is no way anybody's getting to me. And they've tried. I've been accosted by Illuminati. What was the message? We are the elite. Please join us and we will make you more richer, more money, more power, more whatever than you ever had in your entire life. Your career will be on its on the rise again, and you will be in the #1 spot again. I don't need that the way you guys want to give it to me. I need that the way I'm working for it. And I don't care that it's taken all these years. I left En Vogue 22 years ago. It's been 22 years now. Like I said, I could have stayed and did their way, but I'm like, no, I'll go out on my own. But it's been a long time. But there's been things that I've learned over the years and the power that I've found within myself. I would never give it back for all of the things that I've learned, for all the power that they wanted to give me. If I was going to be a Beyonce or a Rihanna, or my career was as big as Lady Gaga, I would not trade that. I'll get that on my own. And I'm going to get that. You know, that's promised to me as well. That is mine. Hell yeah.
Hey man, we touch and agree on that. It's done already. Older
now, exactly. Well, 2 or more agree, Kano, and I've agreed with many people, so it's good. But what they always try to put this fear in your mind that, excuse me, let me let my dog out. That when you go, that when you speak truth to power, as they say, when you do that, you know, you're never going to see the light of day again. You're never going to see Like Sylvia told me, you're not going to work in this business again. No. Now,
Right.
look what God did. The industry has fallen apart. We can go directly to our fans online and talk to anybody, put out any music that we want.
Absolutely.
It's like that. That's what I see. So I didn't have to wait for Sylvia Rone to say, yes, you can put out your album, or no, you can't put your music out. And I'm not going to allow you to be successful again. Allow?
Right.
God is my maker. You didn't give me this voice to sing with, like I told her. You know what I mean? And so it's a really unfortunate that these powers, or so-called powers that be, are in the industry. But at the same time, again, I wouldn't trade all of what I went through, all the tears, all the turning on me, ostracizing me, kicking me out. Dawn is a problem. Maxine even admitted that they told the press when I first left the group. Yeah, Dawn was a diva. Like, she's going out. She's a diva. She wanted to be on her own. I didn't want to be on my own. I wanted to be in that group. I helped build that group. I didn't want to be out there by myself. I was not, which is why I did Lucy Pearl after En Vogue, you know? So I became more powerful because I saw my power. I've learned my strength over the years. I've learned my strength. And so this book will talk about the truth. I'm not making stuff up. You know what I mean? I love you guys, Tanya. Hey, I love you too, Tanya. Thank you so much. I love you guys too. So yeah, when you speak truth, you never have to worry about what's going to have the repercussions. I'm not worried about that at all.
Right.
No, I'm not worried about it. If I was making stuff up and I had defamation of character because I'm talking about stuff, Cindy was on drugs, or Maxine and Cindy had an affair, or Terry and them were lesbians, or it's something that wasn't true about themselves, it would be like, you got to be afraid.
This is not a tell-all book. This is not a tell-all book. This is your story.
No. Oh no, I don't do that. I don't have to do that. The life that I lived and the things that we went through was enough problems for me to not have to make stories up. That's what I was telling the reality people on TV1. TV1 when I did the things that we have lived as women. The atrocities that we've been through just in our lives, personal lives, let alone our celebrity lives, as Shantae Moore, as Kelly Price, or Little Mo, or Claudette. It was a lot. We went through so much that we don't have to make up lies about each other. So let us tell our true show. I don't understand. And they didn't want that. They wanted buffoonery, like I said. So I wasn't down, and I left the show first. Bye. I don't have to be here for this shit. Y'all didn't give me my career. I'm not about to let you take it away. Because I'm acting a fool on TV. No. That's not going to happen. Right. Yeah. So. Now
with the book, when can we, and we absolutely, we love it. And it's just truly a blessing. You're a blessing to us all. And this is your season. 21 is your season.
I know.
I'm telling you. Can't you feel it? Can't you feel it though?
I feel it.
It feels different right now, Dawn. It feels so different right now.
It does feel different. What do you mean, for you too?
Yes.
Wow.
I'm an Aquarius, and it's just been like, Leanne is one of my spiritual teachers, man. Like, she's on here, and like and it's just, I just feel different. I feel the energy. I feel like this is the season of the underdogs.
Isn't it amazing? Like, seriously, because everybody's like, oh my God, COVID, this, COVID, that. If you guys were only focused on COVID, hell yeah, you don't see 2021 as being anything except more, what's going to happen? Are we going to be, oh no, I don't. You wait for the government to give you money, stimulus. Right. They know that you depend on them. So that's why they fuck with you guys. Stop doing that. Depend on yourself. Figure it out for yourself. Pray, and stay prayerful. Stay prayed up. Stay connected to God. Whatever you call God, universe, whatever that is for you, do not disconnect to that. Because when you start looking around yourself and you're looking at how bad everything is, and you're like, oh my God, the news 24 hours a day is telling you how awful everything is. Right. If you go within, connect to source, stay connected to God, that's when you see the promise. That's when you see, like, okay, God, all right, I get this.
And use common sense.
Common freaking sense. Can we please do that?
God. Use common sense.
Because this is the thing. You tell us to say 6. By the way, you can research it too. A 13-year-old came up with social distancing as a term. It sounds like it. Social distancing. It doesn't even sound like a thing. Social distance. I got to social distance myself, but social distancing sounds wrong.
Right.
But okay, so supposedly COVID only goes 6 feet. Like you got to stand 6 feet apart because it's not going to go beyond that. Are you
Yeah. Right. 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 Right.
You know what I mean? It's like, and you wear a mask. They did so many different tests with masks. They had like 10 different masks, and they sprayed aerosol through the mask, which means if you could see the aerosol come out the other side of the mask, you're still breathing in people's air. Exactly. When you have on a mask, you're still getting their air, their breath in your face. It's not 100%. Yeah, it's just stuff like that. I can't help but have common sense, and I'm always going to use my common sense. I am the female, whatever man back in the day stood up for himself and stood up for the people. I am Norma Ray, that Norma Ray movie. You know what I mean? I stand up. I do. I can't help it. I will never not be that.
Man, listen, again, Don, from the bottom of my heart, I want to thank you again, like I said, for being that energy that's standing up. I want to thank you for all of the experiences that you've went through and sacrificed for all of the other women out there. You know, you are a pioneer, and you are a leader. And thank you again for all of these interviews that you have delivered and just touched people and blessed us with the truth.
Oh my gosh.
I love you for that.
So much. Thank you so much, Kano. I appreciate again that you guys have platforms that we are able to get this out. I could not have paid, I would have had to pay a lot of money for a publicist to set up all of these interviews for me. And what I'm learning too is that I'm capable of setting up interviews for myself. There's so many things that I have learned from this whole process. Life is a beautiful journey. At first I was like angry because of En Vogue and everything's over and my marriage failed. And it looked like, even with Lucy Pearl failing, it's like, Dawn, you're the problem. It was like, no, I have to look at it like this. I know that speaking up for us, for En Vogue, speaking truth to power in any way, speaking up to what I was supposed to say in an abusive relationship with my ex-husband. Even if he wasn't physically abusive with me, he was a chronic cheater. So in that sense, I would have been dealing with other problems. The embarrassment of women having babies with my husband while I'm still married to him. That was a mess. That was a lot. Now, come on. I'm sorry, Ma. So yeah, that was a lot for me to go through, and it was just a lot. So I've learned my power through the years of going through all of that stuff. Adversity makes you stronger.
Absolutely.
That's all I can see. And I watched my mom go through a lot of that too, but she was also a very strict. She just walked in, so she reminded me. When we moved to California, we left our hometown, New London, Connecticut, which is 2 hours from New York. My dad lived in New York, my grandparents in New York. So we were always back and forth between New York and Connecticut, but California, or 3,000 miles across country, that's a long way to go. But she still had the courage to do that because she knew that there were better opportunities here, or in California. I'm in Vegas now, but in California than there were in our hometown. Staying there was a dead end for her. So she's had courage too, and I know that that's where I get this from.
She made that sacrifice.
She did.
And bless her heart for that.
And that was at a time where you couldn't put resumes in online and all that stuff. You couldn't do a Zoom interview. She didn't know what hospital she was going to work at. She came here to California, and she put an interview. She got on the bus and she got on the train and went to San Francisco and put in her applications, and she got a job. And 2 months after that, she got a place for us to live. And, so had I not been in California, I wouldn't have gotten an En Vogue. So I look to my mom's strength as me having the same thing. You know what I mean? It's like you do what you have to do when you either sink or swim. Right. You succeed or you fail. You sit there and wallow in your misery. Oh my God, I'm not an En Vogue anymore, and I can't. And it was hard. It was so hard because trying to get work as an artist, I called all of the agencies, and I said, look, I'm no longer in an En Vogue. I'm no longer in En Vogue, and I need to work. Can you guys just get me out there and book me some shows? Because William Morris, CAA, that's who we were with. And they were like, well, we represent the girls, so, they have the brand. Exactly. So I couldn't get work. So I don't know how God has been providing work for me all these years, and I've survived. I've done well. I've thrived. And now from here, this, like you said, this next year, 21 is going to be amazing.
It's
It
gonna
really
be
is for you
amazing.
as well. For
It's
you
gonna
as
be
well.
amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Don, in closing, you have really it's been nothing but gems that's been picked up this
Thank
whole
you.
interview. Like
Thank
literally,
you.
this has been the most amazing interview this year, and I thank you again. Like I'm
Oh my
serious.
God.
Like this is it's really. I've done a lot of interviews. I've interviewed a lot of major people. You know what I'm saying? Like it's
Yes.
it's nothing. But this interview
That's saying a lot. That's saying a
has
lot.
really touched my soul in
Oh
so
my
many different ways.
goodness.
And
Wow, Kano, thank you so much.
it's
Wow.
it's really amazing. Like I don't know, like every after every interview, I always ask my guests to leave because I try to educate people on this show. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's not
Right.
about we could have talked about structured questions and all of that, but I wanted to take you a different way. I
Yeah.
wanted you
Exactly.
to have that freedom to express whatever you wanted to express.
Right. And pretty much I
You
would
know
say
what
for
you've
all of the
accomplished.
well, for all the interviews, it's been kind of the same, and I'm grateful for that because even if they had structured questions, basically everybody always asked about the breakup and what happened.
Hmm.
Everybody pretty much had consistently that same question, but then they get off into other things and start going in other directions. It's been beautiful. It's
Hmm.
like a journey. I
Right.
almost want to say this was like a reality show for me to truth telling. It's just been that.
Right.
Um, and so they kind of find themselves going in other directions, going off script with me.
Hmm.
And it's been
Absolutely.
really amazing. So I thank you, just like everyone else, Kano. There's a connection that we have had as people each time I do an interview, and I appreciate you the same way. I feel that with you, just like
Absolutely.
everyone else.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's been
it's
amazing.
super deep. In closing, for anybody out there, and like I said, I've been picking up gems since since we went on air. But for
Yeah.
anybody out there that may be low in spirit right now,
Mm.
anybody that may be not handling this whole situation with COVID and lost their jobs and just low in spirit and just feeling like giving up, artists, whatever the case may be, can you
Right.
leave them with anything, any words of
Of
uplift, anything?
course. I am an empath. You asking me the right question. Yes, I can. I keep telling people to unplug from the matrix. In other words, unplug from the TV for a while and even your computers in a sense, and ask God for discernment because we all have it. We all have it. We're all given discernment, but sometimes we have the blinders on. So remember your discernment and ask God to help you see through the veil, that they put over our eyes, and to remember God exists. We are all connected. We are all connected. We are not, this too shall pass. It's one of my favorite scriptures. I don't remember what the book of whatever comes out of, or the scripture number and all that stuff, but this too shall pass. It does not rain forever.
Right.
This is gonna pass. You're gonna be okay. Everything is gonna clear up. It's gonna be all right. No weapon formed against us shall prosper. That is another one that I hang close to because I say for me, no weapon formed against me shall prosper. I do my Lord's Prayer. Our Father who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give me this day my daily bread, as I forgive
Mm.
those, and forgive those who trespass against me, as I forgive those who trespass against me. Or forgive me. Anyway, I do my Lord's Prayer, and I'm trying to wrap it up, so I'm messing up my words, but yeah, stay off the matrix, unplug, don't stay 24 hours of news and 24 hours, because a lot of times we're getting fake news on social media as well, and there's a lot of scary stuff out there. So but God, exactly, Tanya, but God. So have faith in yourself. Don't go outside of that and listen to other people about stuff that's going on. Figure things out for yourself. Use common sense. We all have that as well. God gives us intelligence. We're born with it. Not just because we're
Amen.
black, but we're born with that. All races are born with it. We have it, you know. Connect with people, but don't listen to their fears, because sometimes they're, oh well, they said that they're going to shut down the government, and they said that they're not going to give us. Okay, and how does that, like, you were working before all of this COVID stuff happened, so maybe they took your job away, but figure something else out for yourself. It's out there. You know what I mean? You can do this. We can do this. We're going to get through. Watch.
Absolutely. We definitely going to get through.
Mm-hmm.
Don, I love you so much. I loved you
Love
then,
you
and I
too,
love you
Kano.
even more
Oh my
now
God.
because I feel like
Wow.
I've gotten to know you. Just this is amazing for
Oh
me.
my goodness.
The Vibe team, eSource, Vibe One, Grown and
Yeah.
Sexy Music. We just want to thank you again for this amazing opportunity. We're
Oh,
wishing
thank you
you,
guys.
we're
Thank you,
wishing you
Vibe One.
more blessings
Your
and
team, your whole
more.
team.
We're
The
wishing you
Vibe
more
Show.
blessings and more success with everything that you're doing now,
You too.
that you're gonna be doing in 21. We're gonna go crazy.
All right.
I'm gonna hit you.
Exactly.
I'm gonna hit you in a DM, and we're gonna link up.
Okay, absolutely. Yes. And I'll be glad to come back to your show too when my album is out.
Oh, you don't have a choice. It's going down. You are an honorary Vibe Show family member now.
I want to be. That's right. We are fire signs
Absolutely.
together. Yeah. That's what's up.
That's right. It's the Vibe Show 97.9 with my special guest, Queen, the one and only diva, Dawn Robinson. We love y'all so much. Shout out to everybody that was on the live, that rolled with us this entire time. Y'all are really the real ones right now. And I want to take time out to shout everybody out who's still on this live right now. We're going to do that. Shout out to all style, Sylv. Shout out to Lee Ann, Richie Strong. What is it?
Phonice, okay. Tanya Jones, Phonice O'Shawn. It's a bunch of them that come on. Yeah.
Shout out to Whitney Harris. Shout out to Phonice. Shout out to Roman Stewart.
Hey, Roman. Exactly.
Shout out to Tanya Jones.
Hey, Tanya. Exactly.
Shout out to Jacqueline Yvette, Public Relations.
Hey, Jacqueline. Thank you so much for setting this up.
Shout out to Robert.
Hey, Robert.
Shout out to Vibe Show Casper. Shout out to Romardo T. Hunt.
Hey, Romardo.
Shout out to Lydia Jensen.
Hey, Lydia.
Shout out to Tanya Jones.
Mm-hmm.
Shout out to Sunshine.
Hey, Sunshine. That's me too. Dawn is Sunshine.
Shout out to Roman Stewart.
Yeah.
And who else? I don't want to miss anybody. Let me scroll all the way up. Wow, they are the real ones right here. And I tell you,
sure are.
Let me see. I want to make sure I got everybody that's still on here before we jump off.
Yeah, they support all the time.
Right.
Always there. Appreciate
it. Shout out to everybody else on the live, man, and the ones that jumped off who's going to go back and watch the replay. We love y'all so much. Guys, continue to be safe. Make sure you take care of yourselves. Also, if you are not subscribed and you loved this episode, make sure that you go and subscribe to the Vibe Show 97.9. Right now, you can go hit that subscribe button.
You guys subscribe, yes.
Turn on your notifications. Also, follow our radio station website at www.thevibeshow979.net. Also, rush over there to the mobile app store. We do have the mobile app, Vibe Show 97.9 exclusive mobile app available in the Google store. Again, I love y'all so much. You guys be safe. Thank y'all for staying locked in with my special guest, the one and only Dawn Robinson. We love you, Dawn.
Love you guys too. Thank you, Kano. This is wonderful. Thank you.
Absolutely.
We'll talk in the new year. Yay, Kano, that was awesome.